What do you guys think? Is this good shit? Almost done. So my sound person is telling me that Flesh Priest is very quiet, but that's probably to be understood while the beautiful mantra is playing.
How about this? Is this better?
That's a little better, yeah.
Better? Worse?
Worse.
Better? Worse?
Better?
Okay, cool. I have changed up a lot of things with my setup, as you can probably tell. So, if there are any audio issues or anything else, everybody in the chat, just let us know, please.
Almost done.
Is that train still going?
Yeah.
At least I can't hear it now. Before, it was like somebody was fucking shaking with your computer. Aw, thank you, Jen. We need to get you somewhere outside that railway there. I know we're working on it.
There we go. All right. The meat and potatoes of the opening chant is done. So for those of you who don't know, that chant is available on YouTube. It is in my D.H. Thorne's binaural music playlist. If you go to this channel and look, it's about a half hour long. You can use that shit for pretty much anything to do with Lucifer, Luciferian energy. You can use it in channeling Lucifer, calling Lucifer, all of that stuff. It is done in the spirit of a, I guess you'd call it a Buddhist chant, although I wouldn't say it's exclusively Buddhist. But that's often what you would hear if you're hearing like the Heart Sutra being chanted. They find a rhythm and just kind of go with it. You know, a lot of times they would use a drum and they would just, my heart is pure, and you can find a way to do it that sounds good and feels good, the right rhythm, and every syllable is a beat. So, you know, if you got like a anti-disestablishmentarianism, you just do it like that. Dark Lord Sparta, I should do a Lilith one soon. I've actually been thinking I need to do more of them. The question is, do I want to make them very different or use the exact same sound and then, you know what I mean? Like just chant something else. I'll have to play with it.
I really think you should just go with what feels right. Like
Yeah.
not necessarily try to deliberately be different. Just, you know, be as different as what speaks to you.
True. I think the thing with the chant is it should be fairly unobtrusive audio.
Yeah.
With the words, and it should have a rhythmic quality for those. So let me find something for the background. So let's let this place fill up a little bit. We've already got about, what do we got, 30 people, 40 people, 30 people. That's not too many. We could do better than that. Come on, everybody, tell your friends. Usually takes people a little bit to join up. So yeah, so tonight we're going to be doing a more educational show than usual. The first hour or so, depending upon how long it takes me to spit it out, we're going to be having a discussion about Lucifer, in which we're going to do our best to analytically expose who and what Lucifer properly should be understood as. If you're me, if you're you get to have your own opinion, but this is my version of an understanding, if you will.
Now, Lucifer has been... You've been on a kick with him recently, because that was the last video that you made on this channel too, is channeling Lucifer. Yeah,
that was a bitch, man. I mean, I gotta say, like, Lucifer and I we're like, that's my best friend spirit in a lot of ways. The one I have the most connection with, I guess, from day to day, or second most, or whatever. It depends on like what period of my life we're talking about. But in recent years, I don't like using the word patron. I don't do things that way. I think patron can be fine if that's what you're into, but I think it's misleading. You know, it's not like I'm not a goddamn Catholic. Okay, I don't have patrons. You know, like patron saints and all that. But I can understand why someone would say that. If you want to have a matron or a patron like the one that you're closest to, absolutely. I'm absolutely fine with that. Just for me, I don't feel like it fits me very well. So yeah. So if people, yeah. So I mean, if people like, I feel like my higher self is my patron, guys. Like it's cool. But I do have archetypes that I like to talk to the most. That I feel, you know, the most likely to make a connection with. So based on that, you know, that would probably be for me, certainly Lucifer. You know, although I gotta say, like, sometimes it's like, okay, I've had enough filet mignon, where's a hot dog? Let me talk to something else, you know.
Yeah.
You know, President Malphas is another one that I talk to a lot when I do spiritual talking type of stuff.
Well, diversity is the spice of life. You know, it's you're not gonna really grow and improve if you're getting all your shit from the same guy. Like,
yeah,
maybe
very true.
Maybe Henry the hot dog guy has the best hot dogs on this street corner, but sometimes you just gotta mix it up. Even if it's a shitty fucking corn dog from down the lane or something, it just makes you appreciate Henry's biz that much more. At the worst.
Of course, there is the question, depending upon where you're coming from, are all of these other spirits just other faces of Lucifer? So we're going to tackle a lot of this tonight. Because the other day when I did that video, I want to make sure we get enough people here so we can really make sure a lot of people hear this. When I did that channeling of Lucifer the other day, there was a lot of commentary from people. My suspicion is mostly theistic types of spiritualists, which is fine. I'm opposed to theism, but if people want to be theistic, it's your choice, man. It's your faith. It's your belief. But a lot of people who sounded quite theistic in their perspective were shouting out like all the different spirits from antiquity that they think Lucifer really is. And the issue that we find when we do that, the only proof is unverified gnosis that anyone's going to have one way or the other, but it also sort of misunderstands a very fundamental thing about Lucifer. So we're going to have to untangle as much of this as we can, in my opinion, and I'm going to get some hate mail for this one, I'm sure, because this definitely tickles the toes of some faithful people. People who practice like right-hand path Satanism, if you will. They don't realize that that's what it is, but very submissive theistic Satanism, theistic Luciferianism. People who truly believe that gods are gods, and that, or maybe they believe the Christian myth or some inversion of it. And this is where we get into a lot of trouble, because there's a lot of superstitious belief out there. And I'm going to tell you guys that the vast majority of superstitious belief is misunderstanding, mistranslation, or intentional misinformation that was handed down either to keep you enslaved to a system of control, a system of fear, or just to keep you ignorant so you don't ever actually access the deeper mysteries, the deeper truth.
So, oh, hey. We just got a super chat from Eden Garden. It says, hi. Hi, love. Try not to overthink. You know how it make you feel when you do that.
I sure fucking do. In fact, I do that a lot now. I don't do that too. Actually, I've been doing it a little bit too much this week, for sure. For sure. And you're absolutely right. Don't overthink. And in a way, that's where I'm going to end up with my answer to you guys, is try not to overthink it. Like, I've overthought it for you.
And you know what? I want to get into it, but, you know, not to distract too much with this topic we're about to dissect, but why should we... where am I trying to go? Why should we care about unmasking Lucifer and all that, or identifying him with these historic figures? You know, arose by any other name. Should any of this really matter? Should we care?
Right, right. That's absolutely where you're going to end up, although I think it's healthy on some level to ask the question. I don't believe in any religion that says faithfully just accept and shut up. Right? It's Lucifer and that's it.
Fair point.
Hold up. Hold up. Christians lie about almost everything. That's not to say there isn't truth in Christianity at all. It's just to say that...
Was I supposed to act surprised there?
No, you were fine. You're good. Christians lie about mostly everything, spiritually speaking. Oh, don't do astrology. Half the fucking Bible is astrological. Oh, don't believe in ancient gods. Half the angels are just analogs for ancient gods. No. So before I really get into this, what I want to say first is what happened to me when I asked Lucifer to reveal himself as who you really were. A friend of mine was asking, and I forget, I think it was Lumiel. He asked me if Lumiel was Lucifer. So was Lumiel Lucifer before he fell? I think it was Lumiel. I'm like, gee, I don't know. I don't know much about angels. Maybe let me find out. I get why you'd think that. Let me ask the source, if you will. And I go into a brief connection with where I know I can reach that force, that feeling. And there is this, what I call a psychic slap. It's this feeling of just like, yo, listen to me. And you're like, what? And it's like, hey, stop trying to make us all the same. Stop trying to, the word that, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here because I don't have it all memorized. Stop trying to syncretize us all the time. It's healthy to look, of course, but we show up to you in the different masks that we do because you need them. You need those masks so that you can have relationship. And it was a bit of a conflicting message because on the one hand, he was telling me, stop looking, just like what you said before. Like, isn't it enough to just call it Lucifer?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the impression was, you're not ready. It's not what you think. It's something else. And so me being the adversarial, do what I want type, I, of course, started researching the truth as best as I could anyway. You know, just because Lucifer says, stop trying to make us all the same doesn't mean you stop looking. Some things are said in the language of symbolism, obviously. Stop looking doesn't mean that, stop trying to make us all the same, doesn't mean you stop seeking or anything. It means stop trying to conflate us all. But at the same time, I was encouraged to see Lucifer as a mask of something higher by the end of that little channeling I did. And you got to take my word for it, guys. Everybody's going to have different experience. Some people are going to be like, oh, no, don't do that. Absolutely. That's not what I saw. Lucifer told me that he is Saturn, and that's that. And that's fine. I make you sound stupid when you say that, but I don't really mean that. So let's go over the evidence, shall we? Let's go over the anthropological, the fundamental, the point-by-point logic before we even try to touch the what is the feel truth, right? Not what is the real truth, what is the feel truth going to be? And my dog is trying to have my attention. Go lay down. You had cookies, you had everything. Go.
That dog doesn't subscribe to any spirits.
No, she's absolutely the most, loyal. Go to sleep. You had your extra cookie. Go lay down. Sweet little thing. She hears me talking, so she's like, Daddy, can I have more cookies, please?
Well, she knows if she interrupts you right now, then... Right?
If she's really naughty. There's two options. She ends up in the bathroom with the door closed, or she ends up with a treat in her mouth. One or the other is what happens. So we might have to put her in the bedroom. All right, so let's start with the very basics. Let's start with the Christian perspective. because that's where it comes from. Lucifer doesn't come from somewhere else, although the word does. But the entity that everybody's talking about, the character, 9 out of 10 of you, if not 10 out of 10 of you, associate Lucifer with the Christian character more than, like, say, the Theosophist version, or like the Ancient Aliens version, in which he's an alien from another planet. Okay. The vast majority of you are going to say, hey, honey, could you put her in the bathroom? She's being really bad. She just stole something trying to get attention.
Oh, boy.
Yep. You done did it now, dog. Oh, goodness. Hopefully my wife hears me and can do it. Okay. The Lucifer energy in my dog right now is real. Now my wife's going to reward her with a treat here. I wish I could have you guys see this, but then you'd see the mess in my house.
Oh yeah, that's the live streamer thing. Is just you really gotta work the camera angles. I can't tell you how much I was just checking. Like, oh, okay, you guys can't see all the shit on my floor, right? I just manicured just this,
dude.
Just that.
You know what the worst thing is when I do ritual out here? Sometimes I have stuff on the floor over here that I forget about, like packages that I get. I'll be like, oh, the great and beautiful, and I'm like, fuck, that's an Amazon package right there. Oops, that looks just really unprofessional. Well, we're working on getting me a legitimate ritual room, not just a part of another room. That's going to be coming hopefully by next year, so we're working on it.
Fuck yeah.
All right, so the Christian angle. Here's the issue. The Bible is a cobbled together mess. It has been written, rewritten, and it's a propagandized hot fucking mess. And people read it, and there's passages which are not very clear. They're obviously allegorical or metaphorical, and someone decides to take them like literally and create new facets of the religion based around it. And so you have Ezekiel, you have Isaiah. These are all sections of the Bible that talk about characters that would be called Satan or Lucifer. Now, here's the problem. Both of those passages by non-Christian scholars are argued to be talking about an individual. In the first one, I think it's Ezekiel. Pretty sure it's Ezekiel. Maybe it's Ephesians. Yeah, it's Ezekiel. They're talking about the king of Tyre, or Tyre, depending upon how you want to pronounce it. I've always pronounced it Tyre. The king of Tyre. And they're talking about them in a metaphorical way, describing them as being cast out of heaven and all these other things. They're not actually referring to Satan, per se. They might be, but they're not talking about Lucifer anyway. And I know this because in the quote in the Bible in which people originally conflated to be Lucifer as a character was a miswriting. It was a mistranslation, sort of. It wasn't a full mistranslation. It was a mistranslation of a title. They were talking about another king. Star of Morning was his title, like when you'd call somebody like, you know, the big idiot. Well, this was like a nice thing. Like he was once a glorious king. So they're talking about this character, and they sort of mistranslate it. In the year around 300 or 400 AD. Now, the fucked up thing about this is it got conflated to mean Satan because of the context, when taken out of context, by people who don't read the Bible really. Because back then, you didn't read the Bible. You had it read to you in Latin.
Yeah.
And then you got told what it meant. So people didn't typically read the Bible. They really have, like, no idea.
That's how they keep the power from the people, baby.
So, Lucifer in the Bible was little more than a translational error, as Mac Bennett says. We're not going to stop there, but that's at the very least... At the very least, we're going to start there. So, you have, in the year 300, this conflation of the character Lucifer with Satan, and that gives you around 1200, 1100, 1300 years until Paradise Lost is written by John Milton. I forget exactly how many years. I forget what year. If somebody wants to Google it for us, that's great. I'm not an encyclopedia that way.
Let me check it out.
Yeah, if you want to check it out. So by the time John Milton comes along and writes the story of Lucifer's fall, Satan's fall, he of course conflates the two. And the character that every single one of you, every single one of us, with the exceptions of some theosophists and people like that perhaps, will see when we talk about Lucifer is the John Milton Egregore character. It's essentially a So if Superman is Jesus, Lucifer is Lex Luthor.
Interesting comparison.
1667. Okay, good. That's what you said too, I think, right? 1666, 67, something like
Correct.
that.
Yeah, that's when he wrote Paradise Lost. That's what you were looking for, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. So this causes a whole lot of drama because people will rightfully ask, if that's the case, Thorne, then you must be faking it, because who could you be talking to if it's not really Lucifer? Who is it? Well, number one, I am not a Christian. I don't believe the Christian mythology is literally accurate. I don't believe any mythology is literally accurate. I believe that they're metaphorically and allegorically accurate. That means that there is a lot of room for interpretation, of course. But that means that they're also based on archetypal knowledge to a very large degree, at least when we're talking about individual characters. So when we're talking about gods, we're almost always talking about a personification of an archetypal force of nature or concept in humanity. This does not mean that it has no consciousness and has no life in it. That is not what it means. This is where we have nuance, and this has been something that I deal with a lot lately, especially when we're talking about, with cover your ears, Fleshy, politics. Especially when we're talking about things of that nature. There's always more nuance in the issue than there is what everyone wants you to believe. I'm not going to really get into it today because this isn't meant to be one of those streams, but obviously every issue that's in the media where they want a black and white interpretation where you're either this or you're that, there's always a lot more nuance to every issue than they want you to believe in.
It would be so nice if everything was black and white, but we live in a world of gray.
Yeah. So we have this character, and the version that we all know best.
And to jump in real quick, we have a super chat from Cameron Carlson. Says, you are 100% spot on with comparing Lucifer to Tyr. And
Well, I wasn't comparing him to Tyr. You can take back your super chat if you need me to. Although I wouldn't say you're completely wrong.
And also shout out, because I'm pretty sure I know what Cameron that is. So thanks for watching, dude.
Okay, really cool. Hi, Cameron. So the Tyr I was mentioning is the king of Tyre, or the king of Tyr in the Bible. Tyre. It's a little different. Maybe Tyre. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. But pointing out a Tyr connection, that's another can of worms. We're going to get into all these worm cans, okay? Because this can of worms is bigger than most people want to accept. So here's the problem. Christians have a monotheistic religion, and then they've got to explain all of these other gods in the world. So you can only have God and everything else. And everything else is always Satan. Because if it's not an angel, it's Satan. Okay? All of them. So keep that, like, write it down on a piece of paper while you're listening to me and occasionally look at it. What I just said.
Just because Satan everything?
Yeah, so to a Christian, it's God, the angels and saints, and then Satan. And like, that's a lot. Like, everything. You would think that what is godly is like a tiny little nothing if you listen to most modern Christians. You would think that everything is evil and bad and not of God, and everything is Satan. So that means pretty much on some level, most gods are bad guys, with the exception of the handful that the church would say, oh no, those were angels in disguise. Like, if you read the Divine Comedy, if you read Dante's Inferno and all these other things, you'll find out that these beautiful poets and artists gave a lot of grace to a lot of the classical, like the Greek. So Plato was in the first layer of purgatory, which was actually not that bad. It's actually kind of nice compared to the rest of the underworld. It's at least no worse than our world is, and they're pretty comfortable and they're having wonderful conversations. And a lot of the gods of other cultures, the good guy gods, were masks for angels, or they were other saints or something in a lot of cases. Not all, but a lot of cases. Like Athena wasn't a demon to them. Athena was a saint.
You gotta love that, because that's a total fucking middle management type move of just like, we're just going to redesignate your position. You're now gonna be working under the job title of saint. Yeah, sorry, God, we have too many of those. There's only the one big guy upstairs. You're saint now.
Yeah, exactly. So while we're talking, as I start pulling on these threads and showing you guys a little bit of history, try to process this, because I know a lot of you were Christians, and you need to get the chip off your shoulder, by the way. You've got to look at this analytically. You have to realize that most Christians are brainwashed and afraid. And even the original truth of their religion would not be okay with that. If we take the original truth of Christianity, there's nothing wrong with it. Per se. There's nothing deeply wrong. In fact, I'm going to say some things that if you're a theistic Satanist or something, you're probably going to get pissed at me tonight. You're probably like, how dare you? You're going to be pissed.
I've met some of the coolest people I know are just like really, really true to the spirit Christians. Just like, there is such a fucking difference between the spiritual path of like what it was intended to be and what the aesthetic and all of that wrapped up in what being a good Christian is in our culture.
It's the religion is always bad. Religion to me is government. Like, to me, they're the same evil. They just wear different robes. Government wears the suit and tie and says, I am your president. Religion wears the robe and says, I am your priest. They both start with a P. I mean, maybe they're PR, right? They're all PR reps, guys. That's all they are. They're PR reps for an organization that wants your soul. Period. So religion is always wrong. Even when it's right, it's always wrong. Just like with government, the only ethical role of religion, so with government, the only ethical role of government is to protect human rights. That's the only ethical role government can possibly have. The only ethical role that religions can possibly have is to disseminate and protect the religious freedom of those who practice. That's it. That's it. Just to dissent, like if you know, so like people would say, Thorne, aren't you being religious? No, I'm just being a voice. I'm making noise. I'm not telling you that you have to believe a thing. You're going to hell if you do this. I'm not judging you. One of the things you'll notice about all religion is they all start with the same premise. Does anybody know what that premise is? Fleshy, you probably know. I've said this before. You probably know.
All religions.
All religions, all.
Either go.
If I missed one and I'm wrong, that's fine. Put it in the comments. But I'm pretty willing to bet pretty decently that all religions do this one thing. This one weird trick.
Oh my fucking God! I would say that our God is the true God, or no? Actually, I take that back.
Yeah, that's not the big one.
No, we can show you how to speak to God. Through us, you will understand.
Nope, that's not even it. Nope.
Oh no.
You're getting closer.
What were you gonna say then?
You are broken, and the only way to be fixed is through us. Through our practices, through our church, through our method, through our teaching. That is the only way you can be fixed. You are broken is the premise. You have original sin. You are unenlightened. You have karma. They all do the same thing. It's like a salesman saying, don't you hate it when here's our product.
Buy, consume.
Camilla was close. They do instill fear, but that is not the universal one. The universal one is you are broken and we can fix you. Now, they'll be subtle in how they tell you how broken you are. They'll be really nice about it. Some of them will be like, did you know you're God? Let me show you how to find out. I do that one. I don't mean to be like that. At least I don't hold it over you like, follow me and I make you God. But the religions do. The organized religions are always there to tell you, did you ever wonder why you hate yourself?
Well, I think there's a big difference too between, you know, some dude talking to you on the street about like, so this is what I believe, that you are God and we're all broken.
Exactly.
And somebody going, you can only reach the next level of our club with a donation. Pass around the hat, pass around the hat, pass around the hat.
Exactly.
A donation,
exactly.
and we will teach you how to fix thyself.
Correct.
I feel like
You know, this is why I resist the urge to start a cult or order or anything like that. I'm not saying I never will, but I am resisting the urge until, one, I have an inner circle of people that I believe sincerely would never let me do that. Like, in other words, I only want people around me who, if I were to lead something like that or put my weight behind it with other people, it can't be a pyramid scheme. It can't be a come to us for the truth. It's got to be, if there are secrets, that's fine, because not everything is meant for everybody. A cult is a thing. It's there for a reason. So I'm not saying that everything should just be, you know, overshared with the world. There are secrets in mysticism and magic that even I don't talk about much. Usually they're personal secrets, to be clear. But there are things you just don't go around telling everybody. You've got to have sort of a gatekeeping process. And I don't like gatekeeping, but you do have to have like an outer sanctum, an inner sanctum, and then an inner order. You do have to have that. There's a reason why we don't let dickheads into our Discord server. There's a reason why so many people, if you want to get to know me, you got to be nice on the Discord server. Not to me, you just got to show you're cool. And then you might get invited into inner ordered stuff. It's not because I'm looking to pyramid scheme. It's because people are shit, by and large.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just, you know.
You can tell I've been channeling that Luciferian energy lately, right?
Oh, yeah. I feel like it's never really out. The pilot light is always kind of on with you. It's just sometimes you really fucking crank that heat.
Fuck you all. Yeah. Except for you. You're cool. I'll kill you last.
Oh, wait till you really get to know me. Wait till you come into the inner sanctum.
Fleshy. Ew.
Yeah, you won't like it.
Oh. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. So, you have this story of Lucifer conflated with Satan, but you have, like, you know, would we say 1667? And the mistranslation happened around the year...
1667, I think.
Yeah, so the mistranslation happened around the year 300 or so. Or so, give or take, of course. So you got about 1400, 1300, 1200 years for Christianity to evolve. Now, don't forget, during that Dark Age period, the 300s, 400s, 500s, Christianity wasn't one thing at all. Christianity wasn't one thing at all. It was this big, broad set of interconnected cults with apocryphal beliefs, what are considered apocryphal now. You had cults that were Gnostic, which is, by the way, a kind of pantheistic slash Neoplatonic slash non-dual belief, by the way. Like, original Gnosticism is really Neoplatonism with maybe a little bit less, you know, complexity to it. Or at least it was very heavily influenced by Neoplatonism. And Neoplatonism is a non-dual monistic philosophy, which allows for a god, if you will. It's a very good one. Very intelligent. Pretty close to what I think, in fact. So you have all these different sects of Christians who all have different ways of approaching this, until someone decides, using astrology, to create a Bible that's canon and exclude other things. So you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which are the fixed zodiac signs again. The cardinal, they're cardinal. They're there's a reason. They each take up a cardinal direction. There's no astrology involved at all, because that's evil. That's the devil. Stupid assholes.
Oh, I'm gonna interrupt really quick. Jay Sauber hit us with a super chat, and horns up to you, dude. And just thank you. You're always here supporting us, and just really appreciate you. You seem like a good dude.
Thank you for listening to me last night too, brother, when we were talking, and I told you what's been on my mind, and that definitely helps when that stuff gets said. So thank you for listening to me. Hopefully you got something out of it though. Okay. So over that time, there's a lot of room for Christians and people all over Europe and the Middle East to inject all their little ideas until you get a running myth about Satan Lucifer with a slash in the middle. Satan and Lucifer. Same guy in the Christian mind. And they do this very effectively because they draw from the folklore of the entire European, Near East, everything. So this is why, if you look, Lucifer, Satan, has elements of Hades, Pluto, of Horus, Phosphorus, Venus, any god that could be considered either dicey, racy, or something like that. Saturn for sure. So Lucifer picks up all of these traits from all of these different cultures, conflated together to make a bad guy that's the perfect bad guy. And he's actually very likable too in Paradise Lost. If you read Paradise Lost and you don't go, man, I get it. I kind of get it. If you don't sort of kind of have a little piece of rooting for, and yes, Iblis, absolutely, Ajna. Yes, absolutely. Iblis was absolutely a big piece of that puzzle, because the Christian church, the Christian culture would have been, especially after the Crusades and shit, they would have been familiar with the Muslim stories. Of course they would have. They would have often noted where they were similar and noted where they were different and demonized where they were different and whatever. Trust me, the story of Iblis was part of it. Of course it was. They just wouldn't call it Iblis. They'll just call it Satan. Or Lucifer. Of course. Why do you think in Paradise Lost there's a note to that Iblis thing? Yes, Eddie, Iblis did come up later, but this is my point, guys. Where does Lucifer come from? There's no antiquated source. There is no pagan god that is precisely Lucifer. Or Satan, for that matter. The Christian idea of Satan Lucifer is a Christian idea. End, full stop, end of discussion. Because they have taken these other things, welded them all together, and created a mythology that you're supposed to be afraid of, so that you convert to their belief and you fear the devil, and anything that's not Christian is the duivel in the Dutch. Eddie, give me a cookie, Eddie, for saying it in a Dutchy kind of way. The duivel.
It kind of feels to me like they mixed together a bunch of different paints that came from a whole bunch of other different places, and comparing this weird combination of colors they made, trying to say it's just like this color or just like that, is not actually getting to the root of the thing, because it's a whole fucking messy mixture of all of those in a confusing combination.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I don't like these the only good color is white, so all these other colors are some shade of Satan. It's kind of how they would have seen it.
Can somebody isolate that audio?
Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. I'll have Fleshy suck your dick.
We like this channel. Please don't.
We do like it. I would hate to have to start over. I don't think I could. I think I'd just give up. I'd be like, well, that was fun. Okay, so we're being sincerely honest here. So here's the deal. Lucifer is an egregore. Now, how many of you guys know the rant I'm about to go on? Talking about egregores.
Ooh, is Superman gonna be involved?
Superman may come up. So we're going to try to keep it a little shorter than that. We're not going to try to get into the whole thing. My point is going to be this. If I say that Lucifer is an egregore and you go, ah, then you don't know what an egregore is. Because you don't know that's what you are too.
Yeah, it's not to demean or make lesser or anything like that. It's just stating what it is.
Correct. The word egregore also being relatable to tulpa, thought form, soul. Okay, egregore is soul too. Soul being the avatar, spiritual avatar, for your identity, ego, complex, matrix, whatever you want to call it. So the soul is made up of multiple parts, and the egregoric element is a big piece of that. The egregoric element is your identity. It is your sense of self. It is what everyone calls you, refers to you. That is your egregore. And if you don't realize that you're an egregore, you got a lot of work to do, because that's one of the first things you figure out when you have ego dissolution. When you realize that when you have ego death because of your tripping balls or some shit, the first thing you realize is the person you think you are is bullshit. If you trip hard enough, you take that heroic dose. At least I've been told, because I've never taken the heroic dose, but I have done meditation to the point of that. When you have that ego death moment, and you are just awareness in a sea of consciousness, and the whole idea of identity goes out the window, you'll understand what I'm saying to you. When you come back down, your ego like gets rebuilt right away. Your story of yourself gets. You're basically Superman, as I like to say. You're really and so are all the gods. They're all that. So someone mentioned earlier about the collective consciousness. So I don't want to harp on this over and over, but I've said this a million times, because this is like, sometimes when you're a teacher, you have to tell the same story 100 times because you have different people in the class. Okay. So if you've heard this before, please don't just jump ship because I'm saying the same thing. An egregore being, of course, it depends, of course, on your definitions, but an egregore typically is thought to be a thought form that is created by the collective. When enough people believe in it, it sort of takes on a life of its own and literally becomes alive. That's you. You're one of the people who believes in it, but that's you. So I don't want to get too deep into that. Just accept it for now. On faith, like a Christian would.
Accept it, and we can move on and dissect it.
We can dissect it in a minute. So the Christians, over centuries, conflate all of these character stories and build this persona, this character, that we call Lucifer, Satan, whatever. Don't worry, I'm getting to those people who see Satan and Lucifer as separate beings. I'm getting to that. I will. We will talk about that. So Lucifer, Satan, to the Christians is the same guy. None of this is biblical. So you'll have these people who are, if it's not in the Bible, it's not true. Like the ones who think the earth was created 6,000 years ago, and took 6 days, those guys who take it all literally. Those people, it's a wonder they believe in Satan or Lucifer at all, because it's barely even mentioned, hardly at all, and there's not much to be said about it. In fact, if you read the Bible as literally translated to English, Satan isn't that bad a guy. Actually, he's serving a very important purpose. He's not opposed to God. He's the adversarial spirit that works with God to make sure that humanity is on our tippy toes and that God is on his tippy toes.
Yeah, he's kind of like the right-hand man. He's kind of,
the left-hand man, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. He's kind of the one that's sitting there like, I disagree with some of what you're doing, but we can still hang out. Want to see me fuck with your homie over there? Come on, it will be fun. Okay, yeah, let's do it.
And there's even this part in the Bible where when Satan is talking, he's talking in the plural of him. We are here doing this. In other words, it's a quorum of gods. It's not just one. And so the Christians are like, oh, well, that's obviously the Holy Trinity. There's 3 one gods there. Like, oh my God, anything. You'll do anything to circularly logic yourself into this monotheistic nightmare in which you are a fallen thing that needs to be, ugh. Oh, Thorne, of course you'd say that. You're a rebellious spirit. No, I'm rebellious against bullshit. That's all I am. Trust me, if I die...
Oh, that's going to Gnosis.
If I die and I end up at the pearly gates and it's like, sorry, bro, you were wrong about everything. I'll be like, so you're telling me I'm going to hell because I said those things? Yep. Right? Bye! Fuck that. Any god that's judgmental as much as it is in the Bible is not a god to me. Sorry.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll be on the opposing team. Fuck that.
The Christians who say, oh no, that's misunderstood. God is forgiving. God is loving. Okay, I'll hang out with you. We're cool. Because ultimately we'll probably even do most of the same stuff. The same things that you would think are the right things to do. I'm a down-to-earth person. I'm not here to hurt people. We'll get along just fine. As long as you're not judging me and saying I'm going to hell and also if you say, no, God has his ways, he'll speak to you, you'll be saved in the end, blah, blah. Okay, we're cool. You'll be fine. I'm not talking to you guys. You guys are fine. So anyway, so the Christians created this egregore of Lucifer, and the egregore that we talk about on the Luciferian side of the occult takes at least, I don't know, if I say 80%, that would probably be too little, but it's pretty fair. 80% of its egregoric story from the Christian Paradise Lost story. A little piece of it maybe from Dante's Inferno, probably not really. The Theosophists have their own weird, interesting understanding of Lucifer, which I'm not familiar with enough to talk about, but it is interesting. And CJ says, once saved, always saved. Well, if that's the case, I'm saved then. I repented when I was a kid. I'm saved, bro. I could go and murder and rape and steal, and I could do it. I'm fine. Right. Because that's not what's important. The important part is that you pray to the right Sky Daddy. That's the important part. Nothing else matters. Just giving praise to the right Sky Father. That is so silly.
Yeah, I've recently been learning a lot about the plague and shit like that, and you know about the indulgences, right, that were given out?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
that was like,
pay us money and we will forgive you.
Well, the only thing, as I currently understand it, as I've learned, the only thing that an indulgence could not fix is not believing in God, which case you wouldn't really need indulgences anyways. But you know, that one thing, not believing in the right Sky Daddy, that is the ultimate sin.
The ultimate sin. You got the wrong Sky Daddy. Yep. My goodness. Wow.
They handed out indulgences and shit for if you wanted to marry your sister, buy an indulgence. You're fucking good.
Yeah, Biden's son would be fine. Oh, did I say that? Oh, I think I said that. Sorry, politics.
What you want to do? Fine. Pay us money. Believe in Sky Daddy.
I call Biden's son Skittle Dick, because if you've seen the picture, you know why.
I don't wanna.
It's pretty funny, man. He had Skittles lined up on his dick, and he took a picture.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker.
I mean, you know, yeah. So anyway, why did my view count suddenly go down? No, just kidding. All right, so put this in the box, okay? We have the box. Lucifer is more or less an egregore. Now, egregores are still valid creatures to channel, especially when they're really old. An old, well-known, respected, beloved egregore is powerful as fuck.
It's like a soup,
which is why I often say Superman.
Long time to marinate.
Yeah, they've had a long time to be in that collective consciousness, and therefore, it's a valid entity to channel. Now, my argument is every god is exactly the same thing. Every god is an egregore creation of a collective consciousness. What it was based on varies. Sometimes it's actually based on a living person, because if you, once again, do your historical research, you will find out that the non-Christian scholars have discovered that Yahweh was almost certainly a warrior chieftain of the tribe that became the Jews, the Hebrews, the Abrahamists. He was once a warrior chieftain for the nomadic tribe that lived more or less in the wilderness between Canaan and Egypt, but they were more Canaanite than they were Egyptian. And this Yahweh character becomes their most high. And of course, the Canaanite religion, being a very open, polytheistic, or perhaps pantheistic, but probably polytheistic religion, was like, yeah, that's fine. That's probably the brother of one of our gods. Absolutely. In fact, the father is probably El and Asherah, so he's one of the Elohim. So of course it says that in the Bible. It's all in there, guys. It's all there. It's not hidden. It's just people are too stupid because they wanted them to be stupid, and the Christians were like, oh no, well, we don't know how to translate this, so we'll put it. Guys, it's so it really is crazy to me. Yes, CJ, ancient Israelites were Canaanites. Exactly. You have to go back to ancient Sumer to get any real truth out of anything. The original story of Noah is found in an ancient culture that predates any version of Abrahamism by 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years. Let me put it to you like this. The story of the flood in the Jewish texts is talking about an event that was told by a culture that was as ancient to them as the Jews are to us today. That's how far back it was. Now, to the culture that told that original myth, the flood was as far back as that old culture was to us today. We're talking around 10 or 12,000 BC is when they would have placed it if they could. The Elder Dryas period, when of course there was probably a comet impact, the melting of the glaciers, flooding, the sinking of Atlantis, all of that shit happened.
It all feels like a fucking apartment building that has just been like built upon and built upon and built upon to the point where they lost the keys to the fucking foundations and the access fucking corridors long ago. Nobody looks into it. Just we live up here. We ignore the lower floors. We don't know who built those.
Yeah, we're just like, we're gonna take this and make it our thing.
This is
Eddie's worshiping you. Eddie just worshipped you.
Thou shalt not worship idols before me. Thank you, Eddie Romanov. Says fleshly
Thank you,
my
Eddie.
sky daddy.
Wait a minute.
Hey.
I thought I was your daddy of the sky. I get it. I see how it is. I'm kidding. No, he owes you that because of the sweet little nothing that you gave him the other day. We'll just leave it at that. We'll let people guess. But it has to do with a lot of dwarves and rock. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay. You caught me wondering what the fuck you were talking about. I thought I had like a blackout moment. Now I know. Now I'm on the same page. Okay.
Okay. So we're touching on some of it. We're not going to go to Samaria yet. Everything you got to go back to Samaria sooner or later. Sooner or later, you have to go back because that's the oldest culture that we have any knowledge of besides Egypt. Egypt and Samaria are pretty much... Sumerian stuff is dated a little bit earlier than Egyptian, but to be honest with you, we don't know how old Egypt is really either for sure. Like the first kingdom, for example, goes so far back, we don't know exactly when that started. So Egypt and the ancient Sumerian, Babylonian, Mesopotamian people, they probably go back tens of thousands of years ultimately. Yes, Wyatt, today Noah is Elon Musk reincarnate, absolutely. No question.
I like the question that he presented. What if the flood hasn't happened yet? What if the Ark is the best they could imagine a spaceship? The whole thing with Noah just takes place in deep space. Or no, he said derp space.
Cute, but derp space. Cute, but no. And Jafar, of course, is right. If you watch the Bright Insight channel, and I've said this a long time now, Atlantis is most likely... I'm not sure we should call it Atlantis, but if we are going to call it Atlantis, that place that Plato was talking about was the Eye of Africa almost... Yeah, I mean, I mean, if you prove me wrong, if you can prove me wrong, you can knock me over with a feather. Like, it has to be. That'd be like, I mean, I guess it's possible it's not, but that'd be like if you said, the sun in the sky is actually a bucket of cheese. Like that is how, like, oh God, here comes, that's a sex feather, isn't it? That's a sex feather, isn't it, Fleshy?
No,
it is now.
not exclusively. But now I got some ideas, thank you.
All right, so no, well, I think that's 999. What's up, 999? Just got here. Are we talking about Gnosticism? I mean, we mentioned it, but it's not about Gnosticism, no.
Not the main topic.
No. Although Gnosticism is resonant in many ways with the non-dual spectrum that I come from, but it's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, you know what? Doing a slight bit of housekeeping. We are at the 1 hour mark. So,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know when we wanted to do that other thing that we had lined up, but figured I'd just point it out.
Yeah, just let them know soon. I got to get through this. We're almost there. I want to talk about the other gods that are often conflated and why or why not. So, here's what I'm going to say. During that live stream, a lot of people were shouting out, it's Anki, it's Anki, it's Anki, it's Anki. Lucifer is Anki. Anki is Lucifer. Lucifer is Anki. I'm not exactly sure when that got started in the popular occult conscious, but I've looked into that too, and I've asked that question, and I've gotten similar answers, but it's not what you think. So Lucifer being what Lucifer is, this amalgamation of everything that's, you know, bad to the Christian mind, is of course going to be taking on elements in its story and in its character that resonate with a lot of the gods of antiquity. Now, Lucifer, of course, the word Lucifer refers to morning star, the first light, the light bearer, that's what it means. And at the time and place when this came about, Lucifer was more or less what we would call today the planet Venus. The planet Venus, which was also the planet for Aphrodite, the planet that was also Phosphorus and Horus, the planet that was also Inanna and Ishtar. Okay, so everyone, that's step one on our journey back in ancient history, is to recognize, discard all this other stuff for a minute. When we're asking who was this spirit if it was another being before Christians found it? So who was Lucifer before Christians took a shit on it? So your first stop is going to be with the name itself, Lucifer, Luxfer. Okay? We're talking about the light bearer, the light bringer. And so we start there. Now, for those of you who know, Lucifer often shows up with either a feminine energy in mingled with the masculine one, or a masculine one too. But the thing about Venus, and when I say Venus, I mean by extension all the spirits that were associated with Venus in that global culture of the Dark Ages and before. So ancient Greece, ancient Rome, Mesopotamia, the Phoenicians. Pretty much everybody would have identified Venus in many of the same ways, because they all were built upon, like Fleshy said, this foundation of deep antiquity, the Proto-Indo-European culture, the Sumerians, those cultures, everything's built on that foundation. And like in a game of telephone that goes on for 5,000 years, it gets changed a little bit. So the original Inanna, Ishtar, this character becomes Aphrodite, Venus, Horus, Phosphorus. They're very similar. Now, of course, the Egyptian version of the planets, they have very different energy, by the way. So Horus and Phosphorus, they don't seem as much like they would have treated Venus, Inanna, and all that stuff. It's a little bit different for sure. We'll get to that in a minute, though. We will get to that, because we're going to start talking about Jesus a little bit in this stream, too. Cover your ears if you don't like that.
Uh-oh. That's dangerous.
So, Venus, what is the symbol of Venus? Does anybody know? Who knows what the symbol of Venus is?
Certainly not I.
The symbol of Venus is a mirror. You look it up, it's the Roman symbol for it, I guess it's the Greek as well. I'm sure it's the Roman version, is a mirror. And of course everyone goes, haha, that's because Venus is vain. Ha ha ha, see, it's a girl, it's vain. Ha ha, hail patriarchy. Ha ha, Venus is vain, it's a vain female. Ha ha ha. Relax. The deeper understanding of that mirror has nothing to do with vanity at all. The deeper meaning of that mirror is all about deep reflection, deep self-knowledge, deep self-awareness, being fully self-aware. A perfect reflection. One would work with the spirit that we would call Venus, Aphrodite, Inanna, not just because they wanted to fuck, but to get in tune with their true nature. It is a shadow working spirit because it is a light bringer. It brings light into the dark places. I love shadow work, obviously, because I am the king of the shadow people, haha. So Lucifer, of course, would be one of my buddies. There's nothing like having a light cast in the dark place of your own soul and being revealed, not from somebody else. You always resist it when it's somebody else who tells you the truth about yourself, unless it's something you want to hear.
I feel a little called out right now.
So this mirror is important. Now, that's not the end of it. The pentagram. The source of most magical systems in a lot of people's minds, that pentagram symbol is the shape of a star which is in the heart of an apple, and the apple was one of Aphrodite's fruits. And it's also the pattern that Venus flies through the heavens. If you track it as an ancient astrologer would, it makes this weird swirly pattern that looks just like the heart of an apple, a pentagram shape. So of course, people who were caught using pentagrams in magic, maybe they were working with Venus, maybe they didn't, maybe they were just working with the elements, maybe they were working with the Pythagorean triangle that was in triplicate, because when you put it in triplicate, it means something. It was the symbol of Hygeia, which was the goddess of life and health at the time. Maybe they were working with that, and so they see a pentagram, oh, that's the devil. It's the devil because it's the morning star. Ooh, that's bad. That's astrology. Okay, so I'm here to tell you that Lucifer was absolutely... So let's pretend Lucifer's a cake. So we take a cup of Venus. So we've got our cup of Venus for Lucifer, but that's not the end of the cake. We've got to get all these other guys in there too. You got Iblis already. We talked about that briefly because I'm not big into Islamic folklore. Some people really know a lot more than me ever will know about that. But yes, I'm familiar with the story quite, and that's absolutely one of the characters, sure, that they conflate. Remember, syncretization is a bitch when it comes to spirituality, because when Christians do it, it's always wrong. When the Greeks and Romans and the Egyptians did it, they were right, because they were able to point to, oh, so that star means this to you. You know what's interesting? We see it the same way as you do. Exactly. We just call it this. And they carry a hooked knife and they carry a straight knife. Okay, it must be the same guy, but we see him a little different. Same God, we're good. When the Christians do it, it's bad, okay? Okay. Your God is bad.
Okay. That's the devil. Okay.
Okay, that's the devil. Yep. So, take one cup of Venus. Done. Okay. Let's continue with Phosphorus Horus. Now, Phosphorus Horus, the similarity kind of ends after the Lightbringer part. Phosphorus Horus is more accurately conflated with the Jesus character in most ways, because you have the cult of Mithras, you have the cult of the story of Horus is absolutely part of the story of Jesus. If you look it up, the story of Jesus and Horus, even the dates of birth and shit are the same. It's basically the same guy, just in a different culture and time. So Phosphorus Horus, if you look at their story, is way more syncretizable. It's not Lucifer. Phosphorus Horus is not Lucifer. It's just not. Not the Lucifer that the Christians would call. They wouldn't recognize it. The story of Horus is a very good guy doing good things, saving people from evil gods and all this other stuff, saving his father. very much a messianic figure, and his damn birthday and all this shit is on the same days. Of course, Christians are gonna be like, no, Horus is evil because it's not God, it's a false god, so it's blah, 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 whatever.
God, look at God. God wouldn't be a bird. Fuck you.
Be...
That's the devil.
Exactly. I love the way you think.
Tell me what part of that looks like God to you? Okay, that's the devil.
That's the devil.
And their worms. God would never feed on them.
All right, you have to be this guy for the rest of the stream.
Oh.
Give me a gavel.
Oh, okay. I'll try.
Or at least come back to it a few times because I like it. It's funny.
I will.
You're making me giggle. Okay, so Phosphorus and Horus, they're not completely cut up, but if we take a cup of Venus, we'll take like a little tablespoon of Phosphorus Horus. We'll heap that on, sure. Because I want to say another thing, anybody who really understands the Luciferian energy would agree that Jesus during his time would have been seen as Satan Lucifer too. He was a satanic motherfucker for his day and age. He went against every grain of the religions of his day, if he existed. They would have seen him as an antichrist if they had a Christ yet. He would have been, they freaking crucified him for it, guys.
Dude, he would be more at home hanging out with us motherfuckers than the people who say that they're his bestie right now.
Yes.
We'd be fucking lighting up baby legs and fucking spliffs with the big J-man.
Word. We would be. We'd all be like, and let me tell you something. Jesus as written is a cool dude. Don't get me wrong. Just because I do left-hand path, idiots think that means you have to be like anti-everything Christian, everything that's Christian is wrong. No, that's not what it means, dummy. It means that you're not beholden to anything that they say. That's all it means. When they're right about something, you use it. I had somebody get really mad at me because I defended Christians about something. And they're like, I want to fight you and rape your wife and shit. And it's like, whoa. Like, really? Like, so what? Now, Christians like to breathe air, too. What, are you going to stop breathing? Because Christians like air? I guess we have to stop liking air now. People are stupid. They just kind of flip. They just kind of flip their Christian script and act like Christians, but they hail Satan instead. I see it all the fucking time. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's the same shit, but you change the color palette.
Jesus would totally call in, and I would totally give the real Jesus respect. I totally would. The real Jesus, I would shut up and be like, all right, tell me then.
Yeah.
Because he'd probably be like, nah, man. Have you ever done DMT? I'm telling you, that's how he would.
Oh my God, you brought it around to Rojogan.
I did. It took me a minute, but I did. So we are kidding a little bit, guys. I don't know how I'd feel. I don't think Jesus really existed, so we're not even gonna worry about it. Not really. There are people who are saying air is overrated. True. Okay, so what's the other god that I said? I said Anki. Now someone asked, who's Anki? Who's Anki, Thorne? Who the fuck is Anki? So Anki, E-N-K-I, if you look it up, if you go back to the oldest Sumerian lore, Anki was one of the three gods that were the three prime gods of the original Sumerian religion. You had Enki, you had An, and you had Enlil, or Anu. There's different ways to say it. Or Enki, Abzu, and Enlil. Enlil, if you follow the history, is Zeus, Jupiter, Deus Pater. That's who that is. It's the same guy. Look it up. Same guy. An is generally, some people would treat it as the sun, Saturn. I'll have to look it up, but it's not Saturn, by the way. It's not Saturn. Pretty sure it's the sun. I'll have to look it up. I think, in fact, let's do it real quick, because there's certain things I'm learning too, by the way. Let's do it real quick.
Jamie, pull that up.
Oh, planet Uranus. There we go. Planet Uranus is on. Okay, that's true. That's right. That makes sense now. Yes, it's Uranus. So Uranus, or Oranos in the Greek, is the sky. And of course, that gave birth to Saturn. Saturn castrates Uranus, and Saturn gives birth to Jupiter, and Jupiter fucking kills his father, of course. And we see that in the translation from Sumerian to Akkadian to Babylonian. When you get Marduk, Marduk pretty much conquers his father Enlil. Enlil becomes basically Saturn, but you also have Tiamat, which is Saturn. It's not a perfect, it's really not perfect, by the way, guys. It's not a perfect tie-in. That's why it's called syncretization, not exact match. Okay, but they've been synchronized together in a lot of ways. So who's Anki? If we follow the same pattern of syncretization, we realize Anki was the god of the ocean, the god of fish, the god of water. He came in the form of a man with fish body. Enki also played a very big role in the creation of mankind in the Sumerian epic.
Is he supposed to be the serpent?
Well, we'll get to that. So the story of the creation of man in the Sumerian epics goes something like this. The gods, in all their wisdom, got lazy. They needed servants to do their bidding so that they could do the things that they needed to do. They could do their work for them. So they created human beings. The problem was human beings were kind of dumb and they couldn't really do their jobs well. And so they all kind of got together bitching and moaning. Look, we got all these people, they're multiplying too quickly. They're basically just animals, they're beasts, they're fools, and they're fucking like rabbits, and there's too many of them, and they're making too much noise, and they're pissing off the gods. What do we do? So Enki steps forward and he says, okay, I tell you what. We'll take the blood of the story I'm familiar with is the one where it's Kingu. We'll take the blood of Kingu, which was the consort of Tiamat, which was a dragon. They're both dragons. Take the blood of Kingu and use that to create Man 2.0. Man 2.0 comes along because Man 2.0 now has a higher intellect, a higher consciousness. Well, this is like basically the ancient Sumerian story of the Garden of Eden before it was turned into like a curse to be smart. So Enki is essentially conflated with the serpent or Satan in the Bible. So Enki would be, in many ways, to a Christian, a metaphor of Satan, but there's a problem with that. Because in the ancient stories, Enki was a good guy. In fact, it's kind of ironic that the Sumerians worshipped Enlil more than Enki because Enki was always the good guy. Yes, he was a trickster, but Enki was always looking out for us. And every time the gods wanted to fuck us, Enki came along and was like, here's how I save you. The original story of Noah, if you look up the original story of Noah, I forget his name in the Sumerian, but if you look it up, Enki saves Noah, not Enlil, not the Sky Father. Enki does it. The satanic character does it. The bad guy saves humanity. That's if we're doing the Christian thing. So ironically, the Sumerians, even though Enki was always like saving humanity, the thought was maybe Enki's doing it just to get one over on his brother, so maybe that's why they preferred his brother anyway. But it is pretty interesting. The Sumerians had a really interesting twist on their beliefs. They really did. So Enki, if we fast forward far enough, you know who Enki was? It's the planet what we call today Neptune. It's Poseidon, Neptune. Does anything about Lucifer as written strike you as Poseidon, Neptune, though? Other than the parts that I just talked about. So yes, but it's not exact.
I would say like there's elements in there, but you know, to beat my fucking color palette metaphor to death, it's like it's part of it, but it's not the complete picture. There's some colors missing.
So so we've got, what do we have? We have 1 cup of Venus. We have a couple teaspoons or tablespoons of Phosphorus Horus. Let's add another cup of Enki, Poseidon, Neptune. Let's add 2 cups of Iblis. Let's stir this fucker around. Put some eggs in it. Bake that fucker up, and you've got Lucifer, Satan all day long. Oh, I forgot. Hades. There's the Hades element because Lucifer, of course, is the king of the underworld. Oh, there we go. Now we've got Hades in there. Hades Pluto. Oh, he's also the god of darkness and blah, 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 blah. Oh, that must be Saturn. That's good old Saturn right there. Cronus. That's who we're talking about. Oh. Do you guys see what I'm getting at yet? So if you waste your energy, this is why Lucifer was like, Stop trying to make us all the same. Do you see what he meant? I hope you do. It wasn't he was telling me not to look. He was saying, stop making me the same. Stop conflating all of these gods as me. Because I'm what I am now. Lucifer is Lucifer now. That's what it is. Lucifer is Lucifer. Done. And once again, do you know who fits better as... Jesus, once again, is more like Anki than the Lucifer character is, if the Christian story is believed. Jesus would say, come to me and I'll save you from my horrible father who wants to burn you all, just like in the Sumerian story. Come to Jesus. Much like Horus. Much like Marduk, actually, too, because Marduk was a savior of humanity, too. So repeat after me, guys. Lucifer is an egregore. Lucifer the egregore is valid as an egregore that was created by Christianity. Lucifer has the qualities that match a lot of these spirits. And if I channel Lucifer, there's a very good chance that I'm going to end up, if my mind touches on the planet Venus, I'm very likely to touch upon a Venusian energy, a feminine energy. This is why Lucifer very often comes through as a female. He's an androgynous being if you really understood what Lucifer... He's not the most... I don't want to say he's gender fluid, but you know, in his egregore comes through as whatever you want. Because it's often going to have a lusty element to it.
Lucifer don't give a fuck about gender roles. Lucifer
right,
might
pretty much.
just, you know, pull a David Bowie and show up in a dress one day and just say he looks pretty.
Eddie Romanov, I love you, brother. That should be another t-shirt. Your mom is an egregore. People who get it will get it. Or we can change it in egregore. Can we make it egregore? Your mom's an egregore?
That's actually the perfect fucking shirt, because wear that in public and the people who know will get it. That's how you weed out the wrong people from the right people. That's
right.
That's why I was just talking about that today. That's why I wear this motherfucker in public.
Right? Which one is that?
It says, I don't need therapy, I just need to get fucked in public by 14 werewolves.
You know, you have your screen reversed.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure you know.
I realized that once I stood up.
Fucking Wyatt says, you know who else is an egregore? Your mom takes... I too like a regular show. So again, let's I don't want to get too deep into this part, but gender with spirits is... It's kind of dumb. Like, spirits are spirits. They don't have an innie or an outie. They have a mask they wear. And if you want to see a feminine side, you see a feminine side. It's fine. They can come as anything. Look, if Zeus can show up as a goose or whatever it was and rape people and shit and do what he did like that, like, what's to stop Lucifer from showing up as a female, guys? Come on, really. But yeah, so there's so much here. There's so much to untangle. The thing is, knowing what you know, if I'm right, if you agree with me, there should be a little piece of you that goes, okay, so that means I really should be working with these other gods too. And I think you should. Yeah, I think you should. In fact, if you are inside my head this week, you're going to hear me saying, why do I bother with the Goetia at all? The Goetia is like a book of lies. It's really a hot mess. And trying to understand it, it's a hot mess. Because most of the gods and spirits, most of the spirits in the Goetia are just renames of gods, reskins of gods from other cultures, demonized by the Christians, and some you can't figure out because they're super occulted. You're never going to find out because it's either lost or the people who know aren't talking.
It's kind of like, did you ever have those people who got, you know, your senior high school yearbook, and they would like fucking write over people's faces and shit, like, oh, this person was a bitch and shit like that? It's kind of like reading through one of those and just, okay, I gotta see through all this fucking bullshit. Okay, thank you very much. Just
nailed it. Fucking nailed it. So how does Thorne get away with talking to the spirit and claiming to be legit? Because when I channel it, I've never had somebody say, that's not Lucifer, he's not like that. They'll go, whoa, that's pretty accurate. Lucifer is not hard to channel, guys. Just because it's an egregore, you have to realize you have to, hopefully if you're new to my channel, you've got to get over this idea that egregores are somehow inferior to gods or you. Everything is egregore. Everything.
It's just like when people don't like hearing human beings are animals. Like,
right.
by definition, we are animals. Like,
Yeah.
it's not, you know, belittling us or anything. It's just, this is what we are, and that's okay.
Yeah. It's more than okay. I'm glad we're animals. It would suck if we weren't. What would we be?
The fucking bacteria? No, thank you.
Right? No thanks. But even those are egregores too. Yes, Timothy, just because it's an egregore doesn't mean you can't plug into it, but I would say everything's an egregore, so just because it's a more recent egregore, is that a problem for you? It's still really old. And since it's conflated with the Christian Satan, there's a lot of energy there, even if it's not Satan. So that's another angle I want to touch on just for a minute. Then I'm going to get some tea. And when I get tea, we're going to have the callers lined up because I got 2 really awesome callers tonight. Hopefully they're still listening. Hopefully they're still there. I promised them that they could both come on, and I don't care if they come on at the same time. It's up to them. Maybe you could ask them if you want.
I have one of them has contacted me. The other one, I can see they're online, but they have not gotten back to me yet. So, you know who you are. Hit me up in Skype or Discord.
And if not, I'll name you guys in a minute. Okay. So, because I want both of you guys on tonight for different reasons, and I want to get both of you guys to talk your mind. So, the Satan Lucifer connection is only Christian. Now, occultists, especially demonolators, is kind of like one of those in-crowd things. If you're like in the theistic current of left-hand Luciferian Satanism, it's one of those things that comes up. Are Satan and Lucifer different? Here's the thing. Since I just showed you guys that the Lucifer character is a character, first and foremost. Since I've also showed you in the past pretty conclusively that we're all characters, and since I've already discussed the fact that at the highest end of this, everything is the same consciousness, having an individuated experience through one of these lenses of character, that means Lucifer is the same thing that you are. It's the divine source if you're a Gnostic. It's Brahman Atman if you're a non-dual Advaitin. Well, Sophia is something completely different if you're a Gnostic, but you get my point. Depending upon your version of non-duality, whether it's pantheistic or metaphysical, all of these beings are either just made up, but of course, if you realize it's all made up, you realize you're made up. Everything is a mask for consciousness. Everything. And that means these things are conscious. They are alive. You can connect to them. I'm promising you. I'm telling you. It's one of the things where it's like, yes, it is just part of my psychiatry. It's part of my psychology, but it's part of the collective psychology too. It's something we can all access, especially if we're all familiar with it. Doesn't mean it's less valid. You know, we have to stop this separation game between science and magic, spirituality and science, etc. We have to see that they're opposite sides of the same coin. They both do the same thing. And you can use both sides. You can flip that coin and have it land either way if you're really being sincere in your practice. It's okay if science can explain your manifestation. It's okay. It's okay if science can explain the gods. It's okay if they're explained as archetypes of collective consciousness. It's okay. They don't have to be primordial deities that shaped the universe. They don't have to be. They still can be, by the way, because if you realize consciousness is that ancient, that consciousness is the universe, then that means there's actually a place where they could have been real long before humanity was. So in a way of speaking, I'm contradicting myself, but it's valid to say maybe Lucifer is before mankind. Maybe. At least the archetypal cosmic rebel concept, the form, as Plato would put it, the form of Lucifer predates all man, for sure. For sure. Because forms are timeless, they're immortal. They were never born, they're never created, they've always been there. Because human minds don't create anything, we just combine things. Look it up. We don't create anything. We create new things by combining old things. That's how the human psyche works. That's why you don't have like completely new colors, for example.
We're just fucking remix artists.
That's all we are. And we do have to be careful of that pseudoscience, Julian, by the way. I am not, although I guess I am pseudoscientific, I err on the side of real science, though. You know, when it comes to if I can see through where the real science might not have it right or something, then I'll dip into some other things. But let's not. Pseudoscience is kind of like a bigotry word because it's kind of like it's not accepted by common science, so therefore we can't. I do see where things are just too pseudoscientific to be true, though. Like I don't want to get into that argument. So where I was going was, so Satan and Lucifer, are they the same or are they not? To a Christian, yes. And if you're working with the Christian
because
current,
they're all the devil. That ain't God.
right. So that's the end of the story for anyone who comes from the Christian current. If you're working with Lucifer and you base it on that Christian current, then, I mean, it's kind of like you're picking and choosing. But no, to an occultist, there's a distinction. Now, here's where it gets a little funky again. They are all cosmic rebel adversarial entities. Lucifer is a cosmic rebel and he's adversarial about it. The interesting thing about Lucifer, though, he'll come at you syrupy sweet and be like, you are my beloved, you are flawless and whole and wonderful and all this other shit. And doesn't it suck you can't have your way? And don't you wish you could win this shit? And look at you, how wonderful you are. How dare you let them treat you that way? That's an adversarial energy that if you're too stupid, you won't figure that out.
He's like the motherfucker that will teach you how to swim by fucking throwing you right in the pool. And just standing at the edge, just going, yes, okay, you're going to learn right now. You're going to learn.
To a great degree. And also, it will also be, he'll be very, you are the best fucking swimmer. Look at you swimming, you beautiful bastard. As you're like, blah, 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 blah.
You're fucking coughing up fucking fish shit and shit.
So, Satan, though, is very much that adversarial, vengeful, wrathful side of the cosmic rebel. So let's say, instead of saying that they are the same, but they're both a cosmic rebel archetype, they're both a mask of that higher truth. The higher truth is that cosmic rebel, that adversarial cosmic rebel. And they both are part of that same energy. It's just Satan is going to be the one who's like, that motherfucker stole money. He stole my fucking money. Look at that. Let's get that motherfucker. It's a wrathful adversarialness. It is that spiteful adversarial energy. Lucifer is also spiteful, but he's spiteful in that, look how beautiful I am, look how beautiful you are, how dare you let them treat you this way. Little narcissistic, to be fair. A little bit.
Satan's got that meth energy and Lucifer's got that coke energy.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah, I get you.
I'm being funny about it.
Satan comes out when you're sharing a Coke with your government, meaning a Coke bottle filled with gasoline and a rag in the end. Lucifer is the reason you make the Coke bottle with the rag in it in the first place. So you have to love yourself enough to rebel.
No, fuck what I said. Yes, let the record stand there. Steganographer, remove my words.
But here's the thing, guys. Since it's all Egregore, you get to decide what they are. I'm promising you that. You're not going to go to hell because you get Lucifer and Satan mixed up. Can I say that again for the people in the back, please? Please? I am not a theistic person. Anyone who comes to my channel or into my circle going, you got the wrong spirit. Oh, you've offended him. I'm like, I don't see him pissed. Nope. Seems like I'm cool. Seems like we're pretty good right now. It's not about a theistic belief. It's not about falling on your knees and treating Satan as the new god for you. That's not healthy. That's not what they're there for. Those spirits are about rebelling against oppressive anything. Anything oppressive, they want you to resist and rebel against it. Sometimes to do so, you've got to kneel before something else, and so they permit it. They will permit you to worship them if it gets you off your knees in the first place, because then they're going to run you through a new ringer, and hopefully you'll outgrow that too. But you know what? People who just invert Christianity, It's fine if you're doing it just to trigger the Christians, I guess. But if you invert Christianity, it becomes a theistic belief for you, where you're like, you know what, Satan is actually God and Yahweh is actually Satan. And that means that I'm supposed to do all the sins and blah, blah.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of those people out there in the community, guys.
That's just, you're still fucking worshiping Sky Daddy, just in a more indirect way, because you're constantly looking at, okay, what are they doing? Okay, now I need to, whatever they're doing, I need to do the opposite. Okay, so
yes,
what are they doing now? Okay.
I don't think you could have made it more right. I think you made it. So I know a lot of my demonologer friends are always mad whenever I talk about these things, because they believe theistically. And I bet you if I look, there's going to be a bunch of downvotes because of that.
Are we being a little adversarial to you?
I sure the fuck am. I sure the fuck am. That's how you know. I ain't afraid of you. And if you think I'm wrong, practice it, live it. That's wonderful. I'm not telling you to stop. What I'm telling you is you're not going to drag me into your religion, any one of you. Never going to happen. Where's that picture of Lucifer walking out of heaven and it says, I'm going to have my own heaven with my own hookers and blackjack? That's me. Fuck all y'all. I'm making my own thing. Join me if you want. We got good hookers here, I think. We haven't hired any yet.
Yeah, what are you? Well, I'm not a hire, but, I'm pretty all right.
Yep. Okay, well, anyway. Shut up, hooker. All right, so.
Hooker.
So I'm going to go get a drink of tea. And while I do, I'm going to unplug my headphones so people can talk shit all they want. What we're going to do is we're going to call up the two people. I don't know who's going to come on first. I don't know if we want to both have them on at the same time. Maybe we'll start with one person for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll let the other person come in just so we get not like an overload. But I want to get them both on pretty quickly. So I don't mind naming them. We're going to have Nina the Mystic, and we're going to have Jen Vatsa both. Jen wanted to be on, but she maybe got sidetracked. I'm going to check and see if she messaged me. Let me see if she messaged me. Oh, she did. Let me see. Yeah, she says okay. So she should be good to come in soon. So whenever we get a hold of both of them, Fleshy, I'll let you pick one to be first. She
messaged you, but not me? Well, fuck that. Well, Nina's going on first.
No,
then.
Hold up. That was like no, hold up. That was before you messaged her. So
I'm just talking shit.
She messaged me like an hour ago to say she wants to be on again. So I don't know where she is at the moment. Maybe she's here listening. Maybe she's putting stuff in jars. But we could even try ringing her on Skype. Yeah, we can try ringing her on Skype and seeing what happens. Maybe she'll pick up. So,
and we got a super
if not,
chat.
We'll definitely have Nina. Oh,
we got a super chat from Spirit X Diesel with a goal sticker in there. Appreciate you.
Go!
Go!
Look, you paid $20. Go! Go! Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, Spirit Sex Diesel. That was. Oh, I need air.
Yeah, okay, you need a breather and some tea, and you should go get that tea because the moment
I'm gonna get that tea.
I'm gonna take a break and use the bathroom.
Okay, so bring them on and get them ready, and then maybe even introduce them for me. And Nina, I promise, I definitely want to, because we're actually getting Nina on for a full episode next week. So she wants to come on for a minute, and we're going to talk to her. So, all right, shutting up.
Actually, just bring them on, and you'll come back to them already live.
Let's do that. Bye.
Okay, cool. And I am doing that right now. That's not the right one. Nina, why won't it let me add you? There is no bathroom, just go. The people I rent from would disagree with that statement. Alright, I'm trying to make this work, but it's being a little bit difficult with me right now. And for those of you that don't know, just as DH said, Nina is going to be on for a full episode next week. And she actually has some videos coming out right now. She's interviewing the Garretts, and that's going to be on this Sunday on her channel. I am posting the link to that right now in chat if you are interested. And she also has 10% off with all her merch right now if you use the promo code Back to School. That is also in the chat. This is fighting me right now. Nina, I'm trying to bring you on, but it's just not letting me. Time certainly goes by very, very fast on these streams. I'm kind of scared. Yeah, 8:44 already where I am. Yeah, Nina, I don't know. Huh. Okay, this is about to screw up everything. I can see you calling right now, Nina, but it won't let me merge the call. Thank you for the compliments on the shirt. I found that on Zillow? Zilly? Holy shit, we have viewers in Ireland right now. That's actually awesome. Yeah, Nina, if you are listening right now, I can see you calling, but it's not letting me merge the call at the moment. So I'm going to have to wait for DH to get back. That way we can possibly jump over into that thing. So that start a new call with you in it because it's not letting me merge things. If you guys are unfamiliar with this channel, there's definitely technical difficulties. Very frequently like this. So I am also going to see. So while we're figuring out things with Nina, hello there.
Hello?
Hi, good to hear ya.
Hold on, let me...
You are not on camera right now, but...
I have to grab my camera, which is upstairs, so give me like 1 second.
Okay, no problem. We're just in the intermittum right now, setting things up. All right. Sorry for the silence, you guys. I'm trying to figure out these technical issues, and they're being very, very weird right now. So hopefully you got that message just now, Nina.
Audio video setting. Hold on, I've got my back camera.
Yes, and for those, right now we have the great and powerful Jen Vatsa on the call too. You cannot see her, but that is her voice that you hear, and she
should be able to see me now?
No, that's all control. I can see you, but stream can't see you. That's controlled on DH's end. He manages all the cameras and shit.
And where is he?
He is taking a bathroom break and getting some tea right now.
All right. Well, I'm here visually when he gets back.
Yeah. I can't really complain because I always abandon him. Like, I gotta go use the bathroom. I don't know how him and Camilla sit through like 3 and 4 hour streams without ever using the bathroom. Like, I must just have the bladder of a kitten.
I'm using the bathroom right now.
Oh, Ewan, who said that earlier? Just go in your seat. No. Hell no.
I have standards, you see.
Wyatt asks, what form of magic you believe you specialize in? I am definitely best with weather and elemental magic, as well as trance work. For myself, I will say I do not specialize in anything, I don't think. It's just, I specialize in fucking caveman magic. Of, ooh, rock look good, do things with rock because rock says so. That kind of, it all just comes naturally. Just whatever feels right in that moment. What would you say you specialize in, Jen? If anything.
What do I specialize in? I'm gonna call it ADHD witchcraft.
Yeah, I like that.
Otherwise known as Ooh Shiny.
Yeah, sounds like we're pretty much the same there.
Yeah, if I was up, if I was on video and on my computer upstairs, I could show you my Ooh Shiny experiments, but
Yeah, I'm a fan of my shinies. If you guys couldn't tell by the decor around here, I got that gamer LED set up.
Nice.
Oh.
I am here. Let me get video. Who's here? Who's with us?
Jen is with us. I am.
No, it's not. It's a lie. The Jen is a lie.
So
let me get the Jen out.
I am trying to get Nina into the call, but it will not let me merge calls. So I think we might have to start a new call with her in it.
Okay, we can do that if we have
I've never
to.
had this
My
issue.
forehead. Hey, no,
Hello, eyeballs.
Really messy area behind me.
Oh,
Jen, you're gonna love it if you ever come visit my house. You're gonna feel right at home.
We said this earlier on stream of the life of the live streamer is just making sure everything that you can see in camera is immaculate. But if you look just outside of range of this camera, if it slips at all...
it was like, hey, you're calling in, and then suddenly you're calling. I didn't have a chance to, move the boxes out from behind me and my workstation and shit like that. I would have moved my camera a little, around a little, so better background rather than bubble mailer boxes and crinkle paper. Apparently,
it's very real because doing what you do, I imagine that's just your constant life. For those of you who don't know, Jen runs Belladonna's Botanicals, and she sells some fucking awesome shit. Is always putting out
good quality crap.
Yeah. Crap. Yeah,
So we'll try to get Nina in a second, but I want to give Jen a minute because technically Jen did ask me first if she could call in tonight. Because Nina's gonna have a whole
I didn't really
class.
prepare because I've been fighting with my printer for the past hour because I'm like, I've got a few orders I need to pack and a couple things I need to put labels on. Could you just do your job and print? But no.
And now that she's back, I will be right back, you guys.
You're leaving me alone with Jen? What are you, crazy?
Oh, the best kind of crazy.
So what's on your mind tonight, Jen?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, there's a lot of sake and fuck going out there right now.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm just really tired of all the occult drama. And like you've had to explain before, hi, I'm Jen. I'm not actually a neo-Nazi or neo-Nazi supporter, sympathizer, whatever.
Yeah, and no matter what may or may not be true about people that we know or associate with, that has nothing to do with us. I'm not, yeah, exactly.
Right. And it's like everyone's got pasts. Everyone's associated with people. I'm like, there's people I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna unfriend you now because apparently you are actually like a legit Nazi.
Exactly, right. Like, I draw the line at actual hard R racism for sure.
I apparently at some point in time may have been friends with someone who is a white nationalist of that ilk, but, people change, you know.
Right, that's true
change.
too. And I'm going to say something unpopular. I've got nothing wrong with anybody being proud of anything that they might be or might not be. I got no, you can be proud of being black, white, green, brown, girl, man. I don't give a fuck. So long as you don't look down on other people for it, it's fine to me.
Yeah.
Like, tell me, is it wrong to be proud of your heathen ancestors and worship the old Norse gods? Of course not. There's nothing wrong with pride. It's only when it turns into...
especially when you're young, you might be involved in groups and not know exactly all the things that they are espousing,
currently known for,
and stuff like.
And we got to remember, people,
you know, had a job down south somewhere. I'm gonna keep everything kind of anonymous on this, and working at some tech doing tech for some company, and had to go. The boss sent him into the office to get something out of the desk during a holiday party, in which he discovered all the executives from the company in their full Ku Klux Klan regalia.
Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Dude, that's
shit,
like
I'm quitting this job.
That's true. I mean, that happens too. It really does. You know what's funny? This is another unpopular bit of history. There was a time when the Ku Klux Klan wasn't racist, really. That happened. It definitely became racist for sure. But there was a time when they were just there, like if you beat your wife, they'd come and kick your ass and kill you and shit. It had nothing, but then it definitely became like, let's not make a mistake here and say like, oh, they're good guys. No, they're not good guys.
Yeah,
that's not what we're saying.
I'd be held accountable for shit I did 25 years ago that I've long since evolved from, made if needed to make amends or explanations or whatnot.
Not at all. No, I agree with you completely. There's not much that would
Everyone
stick.
has skeletons in their closet.
Yeah, everybody. And
everyone has said something stupid at some point in their life. Everyone has offended someone at some point in their life. It's just how you grow from that.
Yeah. So I just want to point out, the purple drink is purple because of my light. It's actually, I guess, like me colored.
No, Corey.
I guess.
No.
Yeah.
No. I said no. Corey wants to go sit up by the big shiny wicked sign.
So, I mean, this is the thing, all right? We don't want to turn this into a drama fest, but I completely support you. I completely believe that it's not just you're right, but I think you are right too. At least respond initially to bullshit claims of this sort. And I don't like naming names, I don't want to. Here's the thing, I don't want to give the asshole who is currently doing this any more airtime than they already get
Fleshy,
by sucking up to
there's a lot of static.
Yeah, Fleshy, you're really loud.
Yeah, my bad.
That's okay, dude.
Better. Yeah.
I don't want to give this, I don't know what to call them. I don't want to give this thing any extra attention than it already gets because it's saddled up next to someone who has a following. This person would be not even a speed bump. On it wouldn't even be a bug on the windshield.
I think I know who we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Clued in.
One of many. Pick a week, pick a troll,
Look, I keep myself mostly clean from it, but they even tried to insinuate I was a Nazi because I was anti-Antifa at the time. I'm anti-fascist too. It's just I identify fascism a little differently than some people. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Burning down a city,
you don't like is a Nazi.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and
I deny the purple, Mr. Zombie. You're right.
And I don't know if you watched. I had recently done a podcast with JS and Barbie Garrett, and I was talking about some personal experiences from my life and other things. And Jesus Christ, Cat, do you have to do this right now?
You guys with your pets,
I need a cat. I miss having a cat.
I'm like my own pet. I cause my own issues. I don't need a separate little egregore to fucking stir shit up for me like you guys.
Corey hasn't had enough airtime lately, so apparently he needs,
Aw, show us the butthole,
Corey,
kitty. Show us the
such
butthole.
a good boy, and the best kitty ever. Except he's got his asshole face on. Look at that little asshole face.
Oh.
But
cats have two assholes depending upon what type they are.
Now, I have a lot of... I've experienced trauma and abuse in my life, and have worked my my way through various complex PTSD therapy and treatments and stuff like that. But I get very triggered when I feel threatened by anything as a result of that. And
I mean, as you said, like, I don't know if you want me to say it, but you've been, how do we say, run out of town unfairly in the past by this kind of drama.
Yeah. I've been like, you know what, fuck all y'all, I'm going home, and left. I left communities I loved, I left behind friends, I left behind businesses, because I was like constantly being attacked.
Hey, sorry to interrupt really quick. I'm going to try to figure out some technical shit with Nina the Mystic.
Okay.
I will drop out a call and be right back.
Okay, cool.
But, you know, I've had to deal with, and I talk about this a little bit in the video I did with Barbie and JS on my channel, of having had to deal with being threatened with physical violence by a former employer of my former husband. You know, literally having to have it on file with my attorney, like, hey, you know what, if we show up dead mysteriously, here's the people who did it. And this went on for years. And, you know, when you've been stalked and harassed and stuff like that, it changes you. And you become, I mean, your defenses go up really quickly with these things. And a lot of the behaviors that I've seen in the community recently, going back to earlier in the year with a particular, what's a good word for a motherfucker that got some motherfuckering on a grand scale back in January, whenever it was. You know, and it's like all these things trigger various things, because the one thing with the left-hand path community is that a lot of us come from places of very deep trauma and abuse and are at different stages in working our way through it. So when you see these toxic abusers and predators, not just being bullshit trolls, like, you know, making shitty comments or whatever, but the people that are really causing harm is so, like, I mean, there's times when I, like, recently had to relive, you know, my experience 25 years ago with a toxic narcissist abuser. And it's like, I know how to deal with this now. I have the coping mechanisms and the support network to do this, but fuck you for triggering me. You know?
And I went through that once with, you know, a martial arts group that I used to belong with. It was the same story, and I was too small. I had to just, you know, oh, hold on, looks like Nina's back. I want to address some other things, but yeah, let's bring this.
Sorry, I accidentally answered on my phone.
Oh, shit.
Oops, that's okay. All right, let's see. It looks like I got everybody now, I think. I think we just lost Jen.
Yeah,
hold on.
We'll wait for her to be back. I'll send her another thing. And if you could please share your screen.
Thought it was shared. What happened? What happened? What'd you do to me?
Well, I brought you into this call, so you have to actually initiate it again.
Yeah, I fucked up and was like, oh, I'll just answer it on my phone like a dumbass.
All right, so I don't hear Nina. I see she's here, but I don't hear her. I don't know if she can hear us.
I'm here. You can hear me?
Oh,
yep,
hi, Nina.
We can hear you.
Hi.
Yeah, it's I don't know if are we live?
Yeah.
Yep,
Am I
still
the
live.
Skype thing?
Yeah, your video's not actually coming through, Nina. I just see your avatar.
Okay. Yeah,
I
that's
don't know where I am.
Turn the camera on, that's why.
It's like a seance. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Is there any spirits in the room?
Well, it's a seance when you can't see them. It's a seance when you can't. All right, Dan. All right, dad joke.
Oh my, you are totally a dad.
All right, hold on. Okay, there we go.
So yeah, sorry to interrupt and throw everything for a loop. I'm sure you guys were in the middle of a good conversation. For those of you watching, for some reason, we could not bring Nina into our call. I had to start a call with her and bring thems over to us. So it's just, man, it's just funky. I don't know. Why are we still using Skype?
We has to. It works for me. But you know what? Nina uses something else that works quite well.
Yes.
Yeah, we need
And
to get on that shit.
Yeah, you guys need to get on there.
Yeah, the
I think so.
thing that Barbie and JS use is pretty cool too. I've been checking that one out.
Is that, I forget, is that what you use, Nina?
No, I'm on Melon.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to, I promise myself, I keep forgetting to look it up because I know you got to pay for that, but it looks like it's worth it. So, but I like having some of the control I have here. I don't know. It looks like there's reasons to use both, but I'll look because I like the fact that you can get the chats to show up on the screen. I love that. So anyway, let me introduce you for real here. So Jen, we'll come back to your thing. Nina, I want to thank you, like I did on your show, for being such a great supporter for so long, being one of the best mods we've ever had. For you're not just like, I couldn't even ask you to do the things that you do. Like, you do things I would never dream of. Make sure every time I say this, you post a link to myself. You just, out of the goodness of your heart, just do these things that I would you just volunteered. Can I be a mod? I'll be a mod. Okay, before I even needed one. So we owe you all kinds of love and respect and a big debt for being here. Now you have your own channel, but you've also been seen a lot with I'm gonna do it wrong, Wayne R. Steiger. I always get it backwards. Yeah, it's Wayne R. Steiger. You also do a lot of work with him, and you've got your own stuff. So tell us a little bit about, we're gonna have you on next week again as a dedicated guest, but let's get a little introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself tonight, since everybody knows you as a mod.
All right. Well, that was a handful. Well, thank you so much for having me on, and it's a pleasure, to do the modding. I don't mind. I'm sitting there watching streams anyways. Why not, do something productive? And yeah, so I don't mind. That's kind of like my Bosto, which is something that Wayne Steiger came up with. It just stands for a be of service to others, and so so that's my Bosto right there. So yeah, no, R. Wayne, yeah, I mean, that's, I've been watching his channel now for over 3 years, I would say. And he's on every day, like Monday to Friday. So it's kind of like going to school, like a class, 1 hour a day. And this man, he's retired, he's quite well off. So he can afford to buy all these books that the rest of us can't afford, like the ones that are fair, in the hundreds of dollars. Yeah, and stuff like that. So he buys them and he reads them, and then he'll actually put together like a presentation for us. We're basically getting spoon-fed the occult, everything, and it's and then everybody in the chat is so friendly, and it's like a family, and it's really grown into something else, I gotta say. So, and all the stuff that the left-hand path and the cult and whatever, it's kind of all coming together now, like from different angles, different areas, different communities. And the truth is it's kind of like the cream is rising. The truth is rising up now, and we can kind of see what's what. And it's really interesting to see that.
That outpouring of the Aquarian age is kind of hitting.
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that, a lot of people thought about, ooh, that's the devil, or that's, left-hand path is bad and whatever. To me, actually, the way it's looking like now, everything is actually inverted. That's actually the good side. The other side is actually the bad. And as we can see with the whole Vatican and everything else that's coming to light now, you can quite clearly see what's what here now.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting time.
And it's starting to even become, I think it's even starting to move away from sides, and it's starting to become, I think, not many of us, I'm always saying nuance lately, because it seems like people have just lost the ability to see nuance. But we're starting to see the nuances.
For a second.
No, you're fine, Jen. So like, people are learning to see nuance, I hope, especially with people like me. And Steiger's work really helps. In fact, I fell in love with him just because I watched his series on Ball, and I was like, okay, this guy is not afraid to dive deep in research, anthropological and everything else, and also tell you his opinion, and I respect that a lot. I'm not saying that like he's like the #1 guy I watch or anything, but I love his channel. Like, I would love to have him as a guest at some point too. So maybe I could get you to twist his ear around a little bit. but he's a good guy. I've never heard him say anything that is like, oh, hell with this. He's interested in all forms of spirituality, especially the obscure, fringy stuff. He'll talk about Lovecraft stuff. He'll talk about left-hand path, right-hand path. He'll talk about everything, and that's really good. That's really important. He's definitely like, you know, he's definitely a professor. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. He is like he's teaching a class every day. Absolutely.
Yeah, actually, this is a very good opportunity to tell everybody that's listening here that he's actually calling on all of us to get together and see if we can do something about the stuff that's actually happening here in the world. You know, so I don't know if you watched that episode that I sent you earlier, but everybody go and check out his channel. Check out the last episode that he did today. And, you know, if we can all get together and, you know, focus our attention on the same thing here, you know, magic is real. Like, you know, I know a lot of people, you know, they're kind of like, they just, you know, they just think it's cool or they're just dabbling, whatever. But no, this stuff is actually real. And it's very cool to see. And if we can get together here, all of us, all across the globe here, and yeah, we can make some changes. So, yeah, check him out and hopefully we can make a difference here.
Yeah, we have to remember that what the quote-unquote bad guys do.
Yes.
They use the revelation of the method, and what that means is they're telling you they're telling you in advance, way in advance, what they're going to do, because they understand that we are all the same collective consciousness on some level. They have different ways of saying it to themselves, but all of their own secret societies know the stuff that we talk about, and they know it better than we do in a lot of cases. And they're led by not what I call ascended masters, but hidden masters. They're basically the same kind of characters, but they're hidden away. Now, here's the thing. I sort of understand where they're coming from on some levels. And I don't want to say that I agree or disagree, but I will say that when we're looking at the future of humanity and what the options are for this planet and these people, I agree with you. It'd be really great if we could get people to wake up, realize that we're fucking the planet up, we're fucking each other up, our ignorance is killing us, and we're letting them lie to us and letting them rule us. Or, if there's no hope to change that, what's the alternative? Now, here's the thing. What they're doing, they're using revelation of the method to essentially say, this is what we're doing to you. And as avatars of the same collective conscious that we are, if you don't do something to stop us, it is tacit permission to do whatever we want to you. I think that ultimately the people we see are their slaves. So when we look at the bad people in the world that are doing these things, that are ruling the planet, they're not really the ones calling the shots. They're the people that they can easily manipulate because they have sexual problems, right? They're child predators, whatever.
Yeah, they're expendable.
And they're more expendable that way, and they can expose them. And thereby they can control them and all this other stuff. We will never know who the real hidden masters are. People say, oh, it's the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the this. No. Those may be like the second layer of bricks from the top, but they're not the pinnacle.
Yeah.
They're not the tippity top. The tippity top will never know their names unless something crazy happens.
You gotta look at the dude controlling the dude controlling the dude controlling the other dude.
Yeah.
Right, and then the guy behind the curtain that's controlling all the dudes, that's controlling the dudes, and then the guy who's controlling him.
And then I realized I was holding the strings all along. Damn it.
That's right. In fact, at the end of the day, it's you controlling it all because you make reality, guys. Hi. But anyway, they know this. And Eddie says, silence is consent is an off-cited phrase in the military. Seriously, yes. And it's very true in spirituality. What you declare is a big part of your magical practice. You can't do magic properly without declarations of some kind. Whether they're loud or silent, you've got to declare somewhere, because something spoken, even softly, matters. And even if you can't speak English, you got to do it. You know, speak at all. I mean, even if you have no tongue, you have to speak.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, at least we got to try, right? We got to try and do something.
My angle for that is that whatever happens, the people who are awake and aware will be the ones who survive the crucible. Because what I see And what I get from the spirit world is this coming age of enslavement and dark age stuff and the singularity and all of that is the crucible through which the awakening occurs. You know, we think of the Great Awakening of Aquarius as like everybody in the world's going to become enlightened and what that love and light nonsense. That's not it at all. It's going to be, yes, an outpouring, but not everybody's cups are out. Not everybody's doing this. Only a few people are. It's not meant for everybody. This is what the Christians mean with the rapture. They don't realize that they have a point. There is a point to it. I don't think we can save everybody. I'm not here to save the world. I appreciate what he's doing, and I'll probably look into joining with it. But my angle of it is going to be, I did a thing where I wanted to see the monster destroyed too. And I was shown that the monster would be destroyed, but it didn't show me in what way. What it showed me was that I would leave it behind, more or less. What does that mean? I don't know. And we don't know. We have to have faith that we have to realize that, maybe not faith, but we have to realize like the channeling of Lucifer the other day wasn't one of submission or acquiescence. It was one of relinquishing your attachment that's unhealthy to your egoistic desire to win this or to survive this or to be better than you. So the warrior who doesn't care if they live or die is the one that tends to do the best in the battlefield. The people who have the belief that their life is important, but something that ultimately is just a flash in the pan compared to what they really are, they're the ones who become the leaders of cultures. You know, when you look at the Eleusinian mysteries, those people learned that life was not forever in the mortal sense. It was forever in the spiritual sense. And they found themselves, they realized what they were. They realized that their bodies and their story wasn't forever. They had that chthonic awareness. They woke up and realized what they were. And anybody who was anybody in ancient Greece graduated the mysteries of Eleusis. And more people today need to have that experience. I think this is why the shamans are bringing back the ayahuasca rituals so publicly, because they are part of that outpouring. The people who are ready to have that awakening and have that ego disillusion and realize that, yes, we should strive to have the best world. Yes, there's nothing wrong with, I'm not saying give up. No, by no means do I mean that. But we have to fight back from the perspective of, you can kill us all. It's okay. We're going to do this anyway. We're going to try to wake people up and make them realize what they're doing, why they're doing it, and maybe why we might lose this.
Yeah, because ultimately, though, there's way more of us than there is of them. And,
of course.
They know that.
Which is why it's so absurd that we're not even making any moves.
Right, well, we're starting to now. We're going to start to wake up this community anyways, they call community, and see if we can, use these sigils and use our knowledge and see if we can change some timelines or whatever, right?
I fully support that attempt. I really do. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to be the doomer in the group, but I want to recognize what the tides are saying too. I think we have to hurt a lot more before this will turn around. I think that if we do not suffer first, if we are not broken, if we do not have this burned out of us, this complacency, this ignorance, this weakness, I don't mean this in like a horrible way. I mean, if people don't realize that, if we go back to like 1990s, 1980s, 1950s level America, where everyone is, people won't wake up at that point. They'll just be like, oh, see, it was fine. All these people that were scared were wrong. No, we have to get dropped hard. We have to go through a hard time.
Don't worry, DH. We're about to get, go through
we are.
I think the perspective.
Out. What are we talking about?
Good point, Jen.
Because I was talking about something different before we did, and then question mark.
Yeah. It is two different conversations, but they're actually related because the infiltration of that woke / everyone's a Nazi movement is part of what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's part of the agenda. It's us against them, right?
And it's like, yeah, sure, I mean, socially, I'm lefty, whatever, but at the same time, I'm like, people like a certain person who thinks everyone's Nazis,
Because that's all he has on you.
Yeah.
I I mean,
Yeah,
how childish
you're
is that?
than doubt. You want to barf my insides out.
Yeah, the neoliberal fascists that fucking just ruin so much bullshit.
And it's like, you know
Yeah.
what? Well, I mean, this is the thing, and I think this is kind of the point where I was leading to before I lost my train of thought. But I think it kind of ties into maybe what I think we were talking about when I was lost in my train of thought. ADHD is fun for the whole family.
I know, I have it too. That's why I cut people off a lot.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember what I was going to say, so I just say it anyway.
I'm like, blah, 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 you know, it's like, But this is the thing, and this is what it kind of comes down to, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately, because the question kind of comes up, is community possible? Can we have a community?
You know, that's funny because the video that's coming out on Sunday, that's what we're talking about with the Garretts. You know,
Yeah, and because we've talked about that, Barbie and I, a lot offline and stuff like that. And yeah, because you know what the problem is with a lot of these people, not naming names, but we all know who we're talking about here. The trolls that keep coming up time and time again with their toxic narcissism and bullshit, they don't want to be part of the community. And they don't belong here.
It's true.
Because they're not trying to build anything. You know what? You want to be the next E.A. Coetting or become a living god? Do the work.
Yep.
Shut the fuck up and stop, like, the petty bullshit, online bullshit and whatnot.
Work is hard.
Like DH and
Right.
EA are great friends. Are they competitors and like shit talking each other and
Nope.
trying to death curse each other? No, they're friends.
We're constantly finding ways to help each other's stuff out. Same thing with Joseph, you know, same thing with Behemoth X, same thing with you. Exactly.
Within the community, we have various, you know, crossover points. There's things that I'm not as familiar with or into. I'm not really into like Norse heathenry, so that's not really my area of expertise. But, you know, if someone is into a different, you know, whether you're talking about different pantheons, different practices, different types of witchcraft, or, you know, getting into more things like, you know, vampirism and stuff like that, you know, we need to build this, you know, community.
Mm-hmm.
Our differences are not so
Down.
different.
Why, like, oh, this person sucks, they're a Nazi, oh, this person's awful, this person's this person's that.
Yeah.
What are any of these?
It's subversive. It's the old school subversive trick. They find something that looks weak and they put a wedge in it and they try to break it. The problem is, we're already here because we're sick of the world. That's the left-hand path in a nutshell. We're all sick of the world and everybody's judgmental bullshit. And when we see that, we don't like it. Now, this is why I say this. Not that I'm opposed to, you know how I feel about tolerance and stuff. I'm not intolerant, but I am intolerant to wokeness, because wokeness takes that open, you know, treat people as humans and makes it
or healthy or unhealthy and gray area between. Not to be too dualistic about it, but, you know, it's like, you can be woke and healthy about it, or you can be a complete douche canoe.
I mean, I don't call that woke, but yes, I agree with you. You can see all these problems that are legit and be like, yeah, and I agree with that. The problem is wokeness tends to be moralism disguised as something else.
Right.
There's really no difference. That's how I define it anyway.
Okay.
When you, I call it neo.
I think
So, go ahead,
Priest
Fletchy.
is trying to speak.
He's trying. Yeah.
My how would you resonate with this? Because my take on it is that, because I'm not necessarily opposed to some of what gets wrapped up in called cancel culture and all of that. Like, sometimes it could be a good thing, but a lot of times with people, I feel like it's I feel like it's the shadow of the savior complex. It's
Sure.
not
A lot of the times, yeah.
Yeah. It's not
And it's also, it's a way to assuage guilt. It's not like, how do I not actually make a difference but act like I care?
Right.
That's 90%
People
of it.
that are running around screaming, and we all know who they are because they make themselves known. All the little trolls under the bridge and basement dwellers trying to be the new big bad. It's like a new season of Buffy every other week. You know, there's some new thing. What are any of them actually doing?
That's the point. And they don't have to, because when they're a critic, okay, and a critic as a profession doesn't have to produce.
You know, are you doing ritual for hire? Are you running a business? You producing content? You doing anything remotely of value? No, you're just trying to tear shit down to make yourself look better because you're a piece of shit. They're pathetic losers.
All a critic has to do is point out the flaws in others and they get paid.
Yeah.
Right? That's the role of it. So a critic, I'm not saying it's an invalid thing to do. It's just that that's all that they have to do. And these people who are doing it this way, it's the most nihilistic, narcissistic, woke, ignorant, false way. They are witch hunters of the modern era. They're witch, and the thing about this is they only do this because there's power in it. They know that our modern culture is no less pent up than it's ever been, except we don't have the morality priests like we used to have. We don't have the church and this and that telling us what's right and wrong. There's a vacuum for it. So they step in with, well, here's your new morality, and if you don't give into it, we can cancel you. Now, here's the problem.
Yeah.
In this cancel culture view, you can never come back. You can never be redeemed. You are irredeemable if you make any mistake. This is why this person in particular that we're talking about, it's a shame we can't get certain proof about certain claims, which I won't make openly without the proof. But the things that have been said about this,
confidentiality of the victim, but yes,
that's the big thing. When I heard that the person would be hurt, I walked back from bringing that up publicly. Because, but the point is this person, if the truth came out about the things that they do, they wouldn't have a hunt hair's length of time, sorry to use the word, in this community ever again, because it's 10 times more disgusting than anything they're accusing anybody of doing.
Exactly. So,
but here's the thing, to this community that we're talking about, this other side, that's true. They have no place in the left-hand path side.
Go somewhere else. Join a knitting circle.
They don't fit here because the people who are here have had enough of that. I'm not, because they will think that means that we're all Nazis here. That's not what we're saying.
No.
We don't let Nazis in here either.
No.
Right? But at the same time, if they were in here, we're not going to go witch hunting them either. We're not about your morality. We're about, let's just be here and learn and be better people and just try to just live our lives down to earth and see the beauty in nature and beauty even in the darkness. And that's it. You can say all you want that, oh, such and so, let me put it this way. The left-hand path is one without taboos. Now, if somebody were to take this out of context, I could get reamed for it. But if that means that there's some Nazi book somewhere with some occult knowledge in it that I want, I'm not going to be like, I'll never look at it because, oh no, it might have a... No, I'm not going to refrain from looking. Okay, there is no taboos here. That doesn't mean that I agree with all of that. It doesn't mean that I will, sing the march along to it or anything. It just means that information is information, and it's glory. All information is power.
If you saw eye to eye with any of that, we couldn't even be friends, just on principle of how, who I am as a person. That viewpoint couldn't coexist.
Exactly.
That's why you're my shield, Fleshy. That's why I keep you around, because now I can be a secret bigot, and then you could be like, Thorne's fine. I wouldn't even be known with him if he was bad. And then secretly, I'm like, put my hood on, boy.
You see that guy? He's my queen friend.
I've seen this one kind of going around a lot. It's like the people are like, oh, become a living god is a cult and stuff like that. I'm like, if it is a cult, I want my money back. I was promised blood sex orgies, and I've not gotten any blood sex orgies.
It's not a very good cult if it is. If it's a cult, it's a cult that forms organically, which you don't have any control over that. I don't have a control over people who like my content.
I don't care. Do I agree with everything anyone in the community says? No, not all the time. Do I follow every word, lockstep? No. I think for myself. I do for myself.
No. I mean, I will tell you that one of the fun things about being EA's friend is that I will see he'll say something, and then all of a sudden all these people in the community will say the same stuff. They'll parrot him a lot. and I'll know okay, EA's doing a video about Lucifer this week. I should probably do one about Lucifer this week. And I'll see that happening. Not saying I will do that, but I'll get that in
current. I know there was one week where it's everyone somehow we all randomly made videos on making demonic packs.
Yeah. And it happens like that.
One, I had one, someone else did. It was just
that's cool when that does happen.
I'm going to reveal the truth to the people in the chat. That was, the hidden master speaking through all of us.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, no, those synchronicities do happen for a reason too.
Absolutely. And you know,
So-
it's just like, you know, do the fucking work and do better, you know? It's
Yeah.
like I this past week I reread it's a really great book. I don't know if you're familiar, what is it? Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements.
Never heard of it.
Highly recommended book. It's based on Toltec wisdom. I'll put one little caveat. He does use black magic in a negative term, but like in the cultural context in which he's using it, it makes sense, so I'll allow it. But the four agreements and what they go in is be impeccable with your word, don't make assumptions, don't take anything personally, and always do your best. So it's like, and when you start to incorporate that into your life, you know, and I've read it. The first time I read it was about 11 years ago, and you know, it's something I think about and I revisit every now and then. And I'm like, I was telling a friend of mine recently, I'm like, trust that what I say to you, I'm being sincere, because I literally have a complete and utter inability to be insincere. For me, the second I start being insincere, I feel like I'm like trying to peel my skin off with a cheese grater. And Jesus Christ, Cats, what are you doing now?
And I think that's why we resonate so well, even when we don't agree, Jen, is because we are sincere about what we think, but we do it in a way that's not like I don't like going into any relationship going, I hate you. Like, I hate that. I don't like that. I like to look at people. Yeah, you have to earn my hate, and I see everybody as like an alien anyway. So it's like, so what planet are you from? And I want to hear your shit before I decide. Yeah. And when I sense that someone is sincere, even if they're wrong, but they're sincere and they're not brainwashed sincere, because I can tell brainwashed versus maybe they don't know all the facts, maybe they just disagree, maybe they have a different perspective. But is when you parrot stuff. When I see people parroting things, right, that's when I go.
I mean, you can use similar phrases. Sometimes we do that, or like you've heard something, it's in the back of your mind, you kind of parrot
that's
it
true.
out, you know.
But there is parroting, like parroting
it.
slogans, like when you're parroting slogans. I like to make slogans because then I can tell if people are listening to me. You know, I like to make up slogans. That's why I have like Thornisms. That's why I have that one thing.
Hey, speaking of slogans, Eddie Romanov has a good one for the local. What did he call it? We're unionizing. Sorry, I'm gonna take a step back. Eddie Romanov says Jen's point on orgies is why we're unionizing. United Cultist Local 666. We demand more orgies for Satan. I'm workshopping. Go fuck yourself for Satan as our motto.
I mean, you know.
Also building a twink army with Flesh Priest as the model for it, so.
Oh, no, so long as I'm the leader of the bear militia, we'll be good.
Let's be honest. If there's going to be a leader of the fucking black magic twinks, it's going to be Connor Kendall.
Ooh, let's get him in here. Where is Connor?
I think he's in here right now.
Is he in here?
Yeah, I think so.
I've never had Connor on.
I think that's a different Connor, but if Mr. Kendall is watching, can't deny it.
Yeah, it's you know.
One twink to another. We know what we are.
Infernal obelisk.
Yeah, it's you know, I've realized recently it's kind of like, you know, I am, yeah, like I'm really sincere about things, you know, I do and I believe in, and you know, I'll stand up for my friends, and you know, I can see through the bullshit. I can see both sides of the stories where I'm like, okay, you know, you both kind of have some points here and whatnot, or you know, trying to avoid, you know, the daily, you know, bombardment of bullshit bombs dropping every day.
Yeah.
But
look, it's really hard right now to have. It's really hard to have a sincere, original opinion right now in this world, the way things are. That's like, we could say that for sure.
Yeah.
This is why I'm willing to give people.
A tried and true Philly girl, and Philly's unofficial slogan is "fuck around and find out." And that's how I kind of approach things. I'm like, I'm sweet as pie, but fuck around and find out, because I will turn into a hot lava spewing volcano of zero fucks to give.
Behemoth X is in the house. Let's everybody.
A nastygram for my attorney.
Yeah, well, they deserve it. Behemoth X is in the house. Let's give him a hello. He's saying hello, friends. I wish he could come on. I want to have that. I want to have his badass voice as like an intro for my.
Oh fuck
like,
yeah!
Welcome to DH Thorne. I would love that shit. I mean, I should really opening for him, but whatever. I can dream.
I also want to point out Connor Kendall is in here, and I didn't even
Is he?
realize that was the handle he uses on that channel. So
What? Who is it?
Infernal Obelisk.
Oh shit! I had no idea, man.
Neither did I.
It is an honor.
Hey,
Call in, bro.
I'm
Call
glad that I
in.
wasn't speaking mistruths at least.
Infernal Obelisk, feel free to call in. Flesh Priest, tell everybody how. Hell, Behemoth F call in too. Everybody call in. Let's have a big 12-some tonight. We can
party.
For anybody who wants to call in, you can go to the little link above my head. Join us on Discord. That's one way. Or jump on Skype. Might be easier. Get on Skype and search the name Flesh Priest. There's only one, and it's me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I look.
send me a message, and I will try to get you on tonight.
Oh man, that's fucking dope. That's really dope. So Nina, so we had Jen telling her story a little bit. So tell us a little bit more, Jen. So what's on your mind?
What's on my mind?
No, I mean Nina. I'm sorry, Nina. That's what I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, what's on my
reverse
mind?
that.
I don't remember.
It's like I'm finished now. I talked about it.
I was about to say, we've heard a lot of minds right now.
Let Nina talk. I need to go put batteries in my vape because it just ran out, and that's really annoying.
I
Because
understand.
Now I'm watching Flesh Priest vape, and I'm like oh, someone's vaping, I have to vape.
Oh, I'm a bad influence.
Oh yes, in a minute, my cats might entertain you, and look at all my crap.
So yes, Nina. Hello, Nina. Hello again.
Hey, how's it going?
So thoughts on some of that exchange as we go back and forth. What do you think about, the entry of, obviously we're all tolerant. We're not saying that. What do you think about the entry of that excessive moralistic wokeness into the left-hand community? Do you think that's going to go over well?
I was in that community for quite a while, actually. And now it seems to be a bit of a psyop there. So the whole woke, nobody says woke anymore now. That's like a whole psyop thing. Yeah, enlightened is more where I'm at anyways. And I'm starting to see through all the bullshit now. So a lot of that whole through community and all that kind of stuff, a lot of it is just psyop. I mean, the whole Q thing, I mean, it's just unbelievable, right? What's going on? There's so much distraction, there's so much deception. It's really hard to filter truth, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I really feel for those who aren't awake yet, like who are waking now, because there's so much confusion. At least I've had a few years.
Well, about 10 years ago, woke meant that you realized that the government was out to get you. That's what it meant 10 years ago. Now it means that everyone's a Nazi.
That's the
I'm actually
government
kind of at
psyop.
the point where I'm rooting for global depopulation.
That's what I keep saying. No, that's why, even though I'm on Nina's side.
Population, woo!
Yeah. I mean, as much as I'm on Nina's side, I think that's the right side of history. At the same time, I'm like, but they suck.
I'm with what
saving.
I'm with what
Like-
Omobius said. They said, I remember when the term woke wasn't a reference to extremism, but a joke stoners made when talking about aliens and Bigfoot. I want to go back to that.
True. I want to go back to that too. Mobius is cool as ass, man. Well, we like ass around here. He's cool as ass, man. He's one of the people who takes part in my Monday night classroom. For those who don't know, buy my crap. Every Monday night, I have a classroom stream that I do on Discord. It's $20 a month, and it's pretty much every Monday, and it's a classroom. Right now, we're working through the elements in ritual, and it's literally how to do magic the Thorne way, and it's a lot of non-dual. So if you like non-dualism, we talk a lot about that and the left-hand stuff.
Oh, and you know what? To sneak another quick, we're gonna do all the plugs again later, but to sneak another quick plug in, me and DH and a couple other special cultists are going to be doing a lighthearted gaming stream on my channel tomorrow. So I will post that link in the chat if you're interested.
Yeah, it would be really cool if we could get a little bit of an audience for that. We're not going to really be talking magic, although I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up.
Oh, it will come
We're
up.
going to be drawing a ridiculous amount of dicks on some PopCap. I mean, what's the name? No, Jackbox. on a bunch of Jackbox games. We're going to be drawing a lot of dicks and making a lot of off-color jokes and everything else, whatever we can get away with on YouTube till Fleshy's channel gets taken down, possibly.
Oh, dude, fucking bombard my channel, delete it. I don't give a shit. I'll make a new one.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun with this. So we're gonna have at least 4 or 5 players, hopefully, and then we want all of you guys to participate as audience and vote on our crap. So it'll be a lot of fun, and we might, I don't know if we'll do cards. That might be pushing our luck a little too much with Cards Against Humanity, especially that last deck.
Yeah, considering what my drunk ass did last time, fuck yeah. Let's not do
that was pretty good, man. Yeah, let's not talk about Flintstones ever again. So, but yeah, no, we're gonna be doing that tomorrow night. I don't know exactly the time. I think we said 9. I think 9 or 10. What did we say we were gonna start at?
9:30 Eastern Standard, 6:30 Pacific Standard.
Okay, yeah. So my channel, if you go into my channel, if you go into the channel comments or whatever, you'll see the last thing that was posted was technically by Flesh Priest using my name, and it's a link to the stream for tomorrow night. So check that out if you want to see us. If you think we're wild now, wait till we're literally required to draw pictures of stuff that is funny. You're going to see some really, really bad stuff.
All right, so where were we? I have some questions I can ask if you guys want.
Sure.
So Timothy Foster was asking earlier to Nina and Jen specifically, do the both of yous work with Lucifer at all?
I primarily work with Lucifer. I mean, I work with a lot of different entities, but Lucifer I probably work with the most.
Yeah, I have to say yes as well. Yeah, he's definitely one that I work with, and that I kind of resonate with the whole Luciferian currency, I guess, you know, the current or whatever you want to call it, you know, just the adversarial, yeah. So I guess yes.
And just to remark to some of the stuff saying in the chat, I am aware that the Garretts are doing a show. I didn't realize that when we were planning this. I have a feeling that we'll be running longer than the Garretts though. So if you guys have the energy, because we'll probably be doing this for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
so
yeah, Barbie and JS are doing every other week now for their show. So
we'll have to next time if we
like the cult community calendar.
We do, and I'd like to get them onto some of this stuff. I know they want to, so like if I realize, and they want to have me on sometime on one of their streams, so I don't know. We'll just have to keep flipping the disc until it lands with the heads up where I can sit on it.
They actually managed to get the Bales on tomorrow night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I love Scarlet and Nate.
Yeah, Scarlett went through some stuff recently. I haven't seen her in a few days. I think she was in your last stream. She said hi. But she's always been very generous and sweet to us too. And you know, it's one of those things like we don't always agree on everything. And I say this as a term of endearment actually, because if I can say we don't agree, but I still want you in my circle, that's a big compliment. Like to me, like, and if people say that about me, I take that as a big compliment. I don't see that as, oh, what the fuck you saying, dude? You don't agree with me? You're supposed. I go, wow, they can see past whatever they don't like about me, and they still like me. You know.
I mean, I'm generally amiable. I mean, you really have to fuck up hard to make me dislike you.
Thanks, Jen.
But you know, it's at best, you know, it's like I generally just to kind of approach things in the, you know, I get along with most people. And, you know,
it's kind of not hard.
A reason to not get along with you. I mean, I can get along with people I very radically disagree with, but you know, as long you can disagree respectfully with people, you don't have to be like, you know, fuck you, you're a stupid Nazi, blah blah blah, you know, because because you know whatever, you know, it's. And I say you know a lot. That
just shows maturity there, right? With those guys. I mean, you know, if that's all you have against you is that, then obviously they don't have anything. You know, they're just grasping at the straws here.
Yeah. Right? I mean, like I said, you have to try really hard to get on my bad side. Because more often than not, I'll just be like, I nothing you. You literally mean nothing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to go back actually earlier there. That whole, you know, Black Lives Matter and this and that, and it's just like, you know, the whole us and them, you know, they want us fighting each other, right? So that we're too busy to see what the hell's going on. That's the problem, and that's what people don't
I think
realize.
sometimes things start out with one intention, and then it expands.
They get co-opted.
So many people get involved, and there's conflicting opinions, and there's all these different things.
They get co-opted.
Infighting and of subgroups and things. And I'm not just talking about that particular group. I mean, you see with
all groups. No, all groups. You're right. They get co-opted, and then someone, usually a government stooge, comes in and twists it into something that hurts us.
Yeah.
I don't want to get super political tonight, but I will say, it is possible to agree with a lot of what is said by an organization, but hate the organization, whether it's an organization or not. I know Kat was saying that, Antifa is not an organization. Well, neither is white supremacy, but we want to attack that.
You go to a specific branch like the Ku Klux Klan, that's an organization.
Yeah, well, but there's branches of Antifa too, in that same line. So the thing is that, like I said, we can agree with principles. This is why when Fleshy and I talk, when we do dare to talk about social issues, we talk philosophically, not about specific people or organizations or this and that. Yeah. We talk about what does it mean to us spiritually and philosophically. And that is, here's the thing. We've been conditioned so that we can't talk about it without getting offended. And that's one thing I do wish Fleshy didn't happen. But we've been conditioned to take it personally when people disagree with us on things. Sometimes it's valid. If you've got an existential difference, that is something where it's like, you're not supposed to be that way, I need to destroy you. That's an existential difference. So if someone's like a hardcore, Westboro Christian and Fleshy, there's never going to be, that's an existential fight. They'll never be somebody who wants to abolish, who wants to bring back slavery. We can never be friends with them. We'll never agree. And we don't just disagree. We disagree about something that is, if you get your way, I get hurt. That's an existential difference. So this is why I say there's nuance. I can agree, item 4, 1, 6, and then hate the group because I see that they have that one existential thing that is yeah, but that's poison. It poisons the whole thing. So I have certain perspectives that it's I can completely salute all of these things, but I don't salute that part. And I can say that about a lot of different groups. There's not, this is why I'm so independent. This is why I say fuck you to everything at this point, because everything has been co-opted by something that wants to take my freedom away or hurt me. This is why I say, we're talking about the COOF, it was politicized so that even good ideas got shit on. And you couldn't have an opinion where it's we can't respect somebody's body because you're scared. You can't respect the fact that they don't want to necessarily do what you think is right. But yet at the same time, it gets politicized. So instead of taking common sense positions on things where it's does it really hurt me to wear a mask necessarily? Does it really hurt me to just be polite when in Rome? Just give people that benefit of the doubt. But do we need to be locked the fuck down?
Yeah,
no.
I wear a mask because I can't do my business if I lose my sense of smell.
True, right? Good point.
I want to congratulate you. I was wondering how we would bring it around to that, and you found a way.
Well, it comes down to losing your freedom, and that's what we're fighting for here, right? And what happened to
the part
my
I'm
body,
down.
my choice? What happened to that?
That's where I land on everything. That's why I say, instead of fighting about whether I can't even say it because my channel will get funked. Instead of fighting about whether the juice is safe or effective, that's the red herring argument. The real argument is body autonomy. I think it's probably perfectly safe. Probably.
I'm still here. Been back since March.
Yeah, same here. I got mine in May. I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should be forced into it.
Dude,
and as
now
soon
I
as you
can
tell me
send
we're
psychic text messages, it's fucking awesome. The 5G, man.
It's just like the flu vaccine.
You laugh, but it's true.
Flu vaccine wasn't, mandatory. So why would this one be? Some take it, some
there's
don't.
a threshold. There's a reason why I like the statement taxation is theft, because when you recognize that something is unethical or breaks the golden rule, You have to have an extraordinary circumstance to make it okay to do it. So taxation, for example, as an easy one, I think it's theft. That doesn't mean that the government can never do it. It means that to do it, you have to have a really good justification. So just like this with the juice, you need more than a 0.00% chance of croaking from it for me to feel like it's got to be mandatory. Give me like 10% maybe.
Water. No?
Right, exactly. Like, at what point do we draw the line and say, okay, I don't know where that line is. Like, I don't have a hard number, but I know it's not the COOF. The COOF is not mandatory vax time. Come back when it's like Ebola and it's killing, 2 out of 10 people or something. Then, yeah, sure. We'll definitely talk then. I will definitely, yes, hit me, baby, hit me again. Trust me, this is not that though. No. This is not that.
No.
And that's the point that I think is sticking in everyone's craw who's common sense. Is it's you've got people who, and here's the thing, if they're going to make it happen, then the ones who really have to march into it first has to be the government that does it. Everybody, I don't care who you are, if you're in government and you're saying we should be making that, then you need to not only have it, you need to be the poster boy and girl of people who happily take it. Don't be complaining about it later.
Hey, I'm going to interrupt really quick. Did we want to get another caller on?
I don't have a problem with it if they coo. Are they coo?
Okay. It's actually a new caller, somebody who's been around in the chat but never called in.
Is it Connor?
It is not.
Is it Behemoth X?
It is 5:30 a.m. where he is at, so
no
call in from him. I don't know what the fuck he's doing here.
Okay, no, I'm down. I won't even put video. Jen is enormous right now, by the way. Yeah, Jen is enormous.
I'm gonna set things up with them really quick, and then I will let you know before I bring them up.
Size.
And I'm also seeing Fleshy turn weird colors, so we're going to have to come off the politics and stick to the philosophy of the politics very soon.
Right. I mean, honestly, I hate talking about politics, to be quite frank.
I've had too much of it this week, to be honest. That's one of the reasons I've been depressed, is because I see what's happening with censorship and other things, and that thing that's happening with PayPal right now pisses me the fuck off.
That's one of the
what's happening with PayPal
that I was worried about, with certain person accusing me of, siding with a neo-Nazi and stuff like that, and in which I stated to with everything I submitted to my attorney earlier this evening, I'm like, look, this is a thing, this is a risk to my business, this person running around posting this and stuff like that, and if you think Belial is scary, meet my attorney.
Well, Belial kind of is like an attorney of the underworld in a lot of ways.
I mean, some people got the Pebble Beach golfer attorneys. I got the Ozfest attorney. I got the Screaming Motorhead at Karaoke attorney.
So, Nina, the thing that happened was so PayPal just partnered with the ADL to stop your ability to use their service if you are accused, I guess. I don't know what the rules are going to be. It's very broadly written. If you are accused of any kind of impropriety,
associated with like any type of hate group or
like
that.
And considering anybody,
in theory, but there's going to be a lot of people who are innocently caught up in that.
It's another witch hunt. This is why I say, like, public service stuff like that should never play games like that. It should never.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, my ability to use PayPal, to accept PayPal payments on my website and Etsy is one thing, but I also use PayPal to pay my assistants.
Listen, when in history has it in
this country? So it's kind of like you've got to use some of these things. So I'm protecting my business and my interests. I'm like, I don't really care what you say about me as a person, but you start associating that with my business, I'm coming after you.
Yeah. When in history has the good guys been the ones who censor you, deprive your ability to use money, line you up and track you and go to door to make sure you've got shots and papers and shit? When in history were those ever the good guys, really?
This does not look like, Germany in the mid-40s. I mean, is this not all over again?
I think it's worse. In a lot of ways, it's worse because people are begging for it at this point. They're begging. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I hate to tell you, but people are all siding with the other side back then, too. If you were hiding, the Jews or whatever, you were a criminal back then. Just like you are if you are refusing the thing right now, you're a criminal, right?
Yeah. Well, especially in countries like yours, Nina, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I know if you're in Australia or you're in Canada or you're in half the European countries, you're pretty much effed. I mean, they're going to have their way with it. They're going to have their way with you. Yeah.
But I'm going down. I'm not going down without a fight.
I understand it from a business liability thing. Like, my day job is at a very large university. You know, it's kind of like, okay, well, the U.S. especially is a very litigious society. So I go to work, there's no thing, I get sick, I can then sue them for it being an unsafe workplace.
True. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, and again, is this something serious enough to mandate it versus recommended versus, and everyone's got to answer that differently. I am about personal bodily autonomy and stuff. So that means, you know, on some degree, I have to agree, should a company be allowed to make that decision? Sure. The problem is, though, is government's never the good guy. Government is never, it's like I said with the religious thing before. Governments and religions are always the bad guys.
Right, and who's pushing this, you know, the thing? So, you know, just that alone scares me. You know,
it's a real issue. It's like people were saying, "Oh, it's fake." Look, I don't want to say much more about it because it's going to get me blue in the face soon too.
Yeah.
Because it's not. I mean,
that on Discord maybe.
Yeah, well, on Discord I got the politics channel there for a reason, so we can talk. Because I prefer to write about it, because then I can put links and I can really speak what I'm thinking about it. And it's a little harder to have a back and forth in some ways, but because honestly, people are more respectful in voice. You know, I've seen it happen where people will, for some reason, I don't know what it is, and I'm probably guilty of it too, and I don't realize it. Something about when you're writing it, you have more of a tendency to say something shitty than just say I disagree, right?
Right.
You'll be like, what? And if you do say something like, oh, what are you, stupid? You can say that in person in a way that doesn't hurt.
Can you clarify that? Because sometimes things don't come across in tone in a text post or something like that. It's like,
so that's why we kind of have a rule in that, is to always be polite, to not, you know, and we do have certain rules there. Like, we're pretty loose, but we're pretty, like, please no hard R, real R racism. Please no real bigotry. Jokes are fine everywhere. Look, you can joke about anything if you do it right, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I miss old school comedy, okay? When you can make fun of everybody. Give me South Park, give me Rick and Morty, give me old school comedy. That's what I'm into.
Yeah. I agree with that to an extent. But I am also sensitive to, like, you know, I'm not keen on, you know, when people make, like, rape jokes, because that can very easily trigger someone's trauma and PTSD. And, you know, you might not be meaning to cause harm, but you might send that person spiraling into a very dark place very fast.
I mean, I get that. I'm kind of like 50-50 on that. I think that, you know, the hard thing is you're right, but then there's also...
There's gray area.
There's a gray area that happens, and it's just like with the, you know...
Some people use humor as a way to heal, but you can't assume that across the board.
And you can't assume it. But then what can we joke about? Because who's triggering is more valid than somebody else's. Right. And it's tough. It's really tough. That's why, as a community holder, I go, there's times where, like, there's a guy in our group, I'm not going to name names. I like him, but I got to be like, could you stop posting that, please? Because you're going to get us in trouble with the censorship police, please. So, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I grew up, you know, in the pool halls and the places where, you know, you talk shit and it's fine, you know, and that's all I'm going to say. And Wyatt's right. He says, sometimes I feel like Thorne is saying things that may be dangerous for him. You're absolutely right. As somebody who's got a channel who could be taken down for saying the wrong things, even if it's not what I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just talking like this, you can get absolutely blacklisted from everything just because you have wrong think. So, and I'm Luciferian enough to be like, no, you ain't taking my rights, but at the same time, I'm not stupid.
Know me well enough, you know, I'm not a Nazi or a Nazi supporter. You know that I am not anti-LGBTQ because, hi, I'm pansexual, you know, and polyamorous. So, you know, I'm not shooting myself.
The winning combination.
I'm not shooting myself in the feet here, you know, by, like, I'm like, no, I'm not anti-LGBTQ. I just don't like you. Because someone accused a certain person also said I'm not an ally to the LGBTQ community. I'm like, no, I
look, when
just
people
don't like
hide
you.
behind that stuff, when people hide behind that stuff, that's always a sign that they're not a friend of it either.
No.
You know, if you say you can't attack me because of this, no, that you're just using it as a shield now. That means you're full of shit.
And that's kind of disgusting is when people like, I'm untouchable because, you know, this, and I can do whatever I want. I'm like, no, that's not how the rules are. That's not how it works.
Yeah. Well, you know, like you're saying, I'm LGBT. Well, I'm a friend of Fleshy, so I'm totally untouchable. I'm completely like, where's my sunglasses? I'm just.
I mean, you're practically bisexual now.
Right? I mean, I would never, guys, but I practically am.
Don't worry, we've already got things in the water with him. It's cool. give it like a year, and you'll see a little bit more color, a little bit more rainbow spectrum behind him. It'll be.
Well, I realize there's some purple in my flag, dude. I didn't know that. What is that one where you're? It's not so much ace. It's the one where you're like, eh. What?
Oh no, that sounds asexual.
Aromantic?
No, it's where you're not necessarily into it most of the time, but you can be. So you're not like I think true ace is.
Any other time I could have answered it, but it's when you.
It's gray and purple is the flag. That's the flag of my people, gray and purple.
It's when you're not. It's when you're attracted to somebody after developing a connection with them.
That's not how I roll, but it's that.
That would be more demisexual, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm to me, it's like I'll give you a good example. My wife and I were one time at the supermarket, and. You know, at the supermarket, they have the magazines on the rack, and they have all kinds of magazines. Well, I'm steady staring at this one magazine, and my wife is like, how dare you? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I look to the left, and there's some big old boobies that I was totally not looking at, because I was looking at the fucking awesome modded up AR-15 that I was like, oh, I would love to have that fucking thing.
I would have been like, hey, check out the cans on that one.
But see, that's what I mean. I'm like, you know, like how guys will do the fucking yo-yo eyes. I'm not saying I never do yo-yo eyes. I'm saying if a regular guy goes bloop, 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 I'm like, boop.
I am an awesome wing woman, by the way, so, you know.
Boop. You know, wing woman. I am not saying I am a zero. I'm saying that to me, it's like my body's urges are not my urges, if that makes sense. Like my brain is somewhere else most of the time.
You might be an awesome wing woman, but if any of you ever hang out with me, I am the worst wing man, because I will totally go up to somebody and just be like, hey, my friend thinks you're cute. He's got the most raginest angry inch you'll ever see. You want to take that thing for a ride.
You know what it is? You know what the other thing is? When I was younger, we went to this goth club out called Detour, and it was my first encounter with like a real drag queen was there. Motherfucker became my best friend by the end of the night. I was like, dude, I gotta go to one of these things. Not because I'm like, ooh, it's just like, I love when people are happy to be themselves, right? Dude. And I love when people, because you can be more yourself behind a mask sometimes than you can ever be sometimes when you're stuck in your real form.
That's why
right?
Halloween is so fucking bitchin'.
Exactly. And so this person was in the mask of who they really were, and it was to me, it was beautiful. Like, to me, that was like, I could, like, this looked like my best friend tonight. Let's go. And that sounds weird to some people the way I'm putting it, because it is like discovering a new country or something. We're like, you know, but that's how I view it, and that's why that's why my door's open to all of this shit, so long as it's tasteful and respectful enough that I'm not like, don't rape me with your ideas. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Like there's a limit, but it's not what people think it is. To me, it's like, how do I put this? To me, your interests are totally normal, and so I don't need you to brag to me about it, right? Like, I don't need it to be tested more than like that initial conversation about it. But if you talk to me about like, oh, like when Fleshy's like, oh, my boyfriend, I'm like would never even make me winkle. Like, I wouldn't even twinkle about it. It's only when people think it should be weird that it bothers me, right?
Yeah, like, so we never had a fucking conversation when we first started hanging out of like, by the way, I also fuck dudes. Is that cool with you? Like it was,
Right.
it was just like fucking drop this into conversation. By the way, I was fucking my boyfriend the other day, and you wouldn't believe what happened. Fucking.
And did I bat an eye? Well, I probably did, but we were on audio, so you probably never caught it. But did I really bat an eye? No.
No, actually, I remember. Not to start telling personal stories, but I remember the moment when it came up actually, and it was because we were hanging out with somebody who was totally not the way that you are. They were fucking hardcore Christian. You know, I don't know that they were gay bashing. I honestly didn't catch that part of the conversation.
To be honest, I think he's a closet anyway, so...
But you fucking glorious motherfucker. I just came into the call, and this guy was, like, talking shit about, like, I don't think gays should be... whatever, and you're just like, hey, Fleshy, do you like girls? Do you like guys? I'm like, oh, I swing both ways. It don't fucking matter to me. And this dude just... Oh no!
As I like
You
to
know
say,
what's
his
great?
rear iris puckered in discomfort.
Now here's the thing, he's actually a really nice guy,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
won't actually judge you as that, trust me. It's that
I know who you think we're talking about. It wasn't that guy. It was the other guy who shared our name.
Oh, our squared guy. In fact, I thought the person was here because they have the same name, but I'm not going to name him. No, okay, that was, he would judge you for it. Yeah, he would. My other friend wouldn't. This guy would, for sure. Yeah, he'd say he wouldn't, but he'd be like, y'all going to hell. Y'all need Jesus.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
No.
Oh, fucking...
Well,
okay.
I don't give a fuck who you sleep with, okay, Fleshy?
I appreciate that. That's...
Right? I really...
Why is it anybody's business who you sleep with or who you don't sleep with? Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
If you give a fuck about who I sleep with, it better be because you're trying to get in my bed. That's the only reason it should.
I agree with that, or because you're inviting me to the wedding and I need to know what kind of dress to put on him or something, right? You know.
Yeah.
Like that's about it. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
what's that T-shirt? How does it go? I just want gay married men to be able to protect their marijuana farms with AK-47s. That's my view in a nutshell.
Hey, you know what? I think it's about time that gay people get trapped into marriage too. You know, fuck it. You know,
everyone should be miserable.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Oh, you said old school comedy. That's so fucking old school comedy.
Yeah, that's dad comedy.
Gay
That's
people
dad comedy.
seem to be as unhappy as the rest of us. Damn it.
that's right.
I hate my wife.
That's right. They're way too happy. They're way too gay.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh, fucking shit.
Oh man. And a moment of silence for Mr.
Moment of
McAfee, who
silence on that
was
one.
assassinated. A moment of silence for Mr. McAfee, who didn't suicide himself. You know, he also didn't suicide himself in prison. So a moment of silence for Mr. McAfee, who had the greatest commercial ever. If you haven't seen it, it's the commercial where he teaches you how to uninstall McAfee antivirus while he snorts coke off of hookers' boobs. It was fantastic.
I'll pay to see that.
Oh no, it's great. Yeah, look it up. It's McAfee teaches you how to uninstall McAfee. It's great. I love John McAfee. Yeah,
I don't know if I agree.
Do we have any questions in the live chat?
That's an excellent question. Let me go back.
Do your job, man. What are we not paying you for?
Yeah, we've all been made uncomfortable for a moment. Let's get uncomfortable about other questions.
Ooh,
And
okay.
also, sorry, I feel like I'm all like most of the screen with my boobs right now. But so you.
Would you like me to lower you?
I probably have a lot more thumbs up and like extra.
Well, then let's hold on. Let's
likes.
Since you're mentioning,
all my boobs.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. If you don't,
I'm sure glad I'm out there.
Hey, don't get me in on this too. Come on now.
No, Flush, you gotta stay there.
I got like a solid A cup.
Flush, you're there to.
Fucking years old. I'm not offended by people staring at my titties. They're glorious. Stare away.
Flushy, look directly into them. Directly.
I'm mesmerizing you with my.
Doesn't do anything, Fleshy.
It's not working. Why isn't it working?
Oh, fucking shit.
Actually, I think Fleshy, it would work for Fleshy's pretty much all over the map, so we don't have.
People would be like, oh no, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you gonna do? I got the gas
now. Let's see.
Eddie says this is why we tune in. Oh, fucking shit. Okay.
dropped out? No, where is he? There, yeah.
Okay.
And we get 400 super chats for Jen's booth.
So I just want to say, if you think this is funny,
Having a drink.
if you think this is funny, wait till we're drawing dicks all over everything tomorrow night. That's all I'm going to say. Make sure you tune in for this tomorrow night.
Okay, so let me see. Here's a good question for everybody. John Stone asked earlier in the stream, how does one figure out that they are connecting with the spirit they call on?
Okay, hold on. I got to respond to somebody, but I want to answer that question. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on.
And-
Atropa, who's a true blue. Let me see. I want to say good night, Atropa. I don't know if you're still here to see it, but good night. Thank you for your support and love. I'm glad you got to catch one. I know, like, whenever there's a live stream, you always, like, are one of the first comments to be like, I fucking missed it. So I want to give you a special shout out. Thanks for coming. And we love you too. Okay, good. All right.
Fuck, I forgot the question. Oh, if you're contacting a spirit, how do you know
Yeah,
contacting that spirit?
Repeat the question, Fleshy, just to be safe.
How does one figure out that they're connecting with the spirit they call on? By John Stone.
Okay. So I'm going to let y'all go first. All y'all.
I mean, different spirits have different energy signatures, and sometimes you can figure out things by kind of comparing notes with other people. Like, how does Lucifer appear to you? What kinds of things does Lucifer work with you on, and stuff like that. And you can kind of go from there, especially if you're new to it. You know, I mean, there's always the chance that you're doing a thought form projection, that, you know, you're projecting what, you know, you think Lucifer should be. Like, when I first started working with Lucifer, I couldn't get a good visual grasp on Lucifer because I just kept getting all the pop culture Lucifers.
I like using pop culture visualizations, at least at first.
Yeah,
for everything.
And stuff, or artistic things and whatnot. And it's like, Lucifer doesn't have to look like, to you, what Lucifer might look like is entirely different than what I think of Lucifer as.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they can morph into different things. So
Belial never shows up in the same outfit or in the same guise twice. So I usually figure out that I'm like, oh, this purple globby alien thing is probably Belial.
Yeah, for me, it was like a knowing. It was like there was no words spoken. There's nothing written anywhere. It's just, you know, when that spirit shows up, it's like, yep, you know, right away. For me, anyways, but.
Dorian, thank you for commenting about the mirror. I appreciate you. I hope you got the extra stuff that came with it, and I'm glad you loved it. So thank you very much. If you feel like it, give us a review on Etsy. That always helps. And thank you so much, man. Thank you.
And
go ahead, Flash.
On this question, I might be, you know, maybe everybody's not going to agree with me on this, but I don't think you're ever going, I don't think you're ever going to 100% know when you're first working with them. I think to sit there and try to 100% verify right at first is definitely do go for some validation, but to 100%, I know absolutely, I did all the background checks and I called his previous manager and all this fucking shit, like that, and just don't. You're not gonna 100% know. If it feels right, go with it. Keep a little bit of your guard up at first, and then just get to know them. Just have a fucking conversation or something. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna do the unpopular thing as I always do. Here's the truth, in my opinion. Here's the truth. You are always in control of who shows up. If you're not getting who you thought you were calling for, you need to do the shadow work to figure out why you got somebody else. The reason I say that is because ultimately, you are the one who sets the form for the consciousness to appear in. But if you're ever worried about it, you're ever worried about what you're getting. Now, you can do, like, you know, they call them what they call a blind evocation, stuff like that. You can call upon what is here and then see what shows up. There's no question that you can get things that you're not expecting. That's not my point. My point is, nothing you do is really planned anyway, the way you think it is. Your subconscious mind is always 10 steps ahead of you in terms of what your actions and thoughts are. So if you're looking for Lucifer and you get something that looks like Lucifer and then it twists on you later and is something else, That's a shadow work question. You need to be asking yourself what triggered something in you to be like that. Because I can tell you from personal experience that this is why beginners get the twisted fuck-ups all the time, because their shadow work is generally sideways, or they don't have the confidence, or they don't know what they're doing. And so when they conjure up a spirit, they'll probably get the right one at first, probably. We call them pretenders a lot, because this is a theistic person will call it a pretender. A pretender showed up and said it was Lucifer, but it wasn't. I'm not a very good sorcerer because of it. The reality is you probably did get the right Lucifer for a minute, but something in you was like, oh shit, and you turned it into a monster because that's what you needed it to be. For whatever reason, you needed to learn that lesson somehow. That's all I'm going to say, because it's too broad. I can't, everybody's a little different for why this happens when it happens. But I'll give you a little bit of advice if you want to avoid it, especially early on. When you do start to get a reliable spirit, so when you've got a spirit that you resonate with, call it your patron, even though I don't like to call them that. You've got a patron spirit that you trust and you can call on regularly. Specifically ask them for a familiar, something that can assist you in ritual. So you get yourself a Nicodemus like I got. You'll see I use them from time to time in ritual, especially if I'm not feeling really confident in my ability to summon because of whatever reason. Maybe I'm distracted, maybe I'm depressed, maybe I'm upset. So I use this as a key, if you will. This other spirit, this spirit that I trust implicitly. It's got a set of rules. It gets fed every month. It is the most dedicated spirit. It is not a slave, but it is, some familiars are slaves, by the way. They like it. It's like BDSM stuff to them. Familiars, though, you get yourself a familiar that you can trust, whose job, at least one of them, is to assist you in ritual. And you go, hey, I'm having trouble connecting. You bring me the right one. And if you don't trust that spirit, then it's not really your familiar, right? So this will help you. It's one of the ways you can do this. Or you do have a patron that you trust, begin rituals with that patron. Obviously, this requires that you have a spirit that you can trust yourself to conjure, to call upon. But honestly, if you're a real beginner, that's what you should be learning to do anyway. That's where you start. So you put up all your protections, you get yourself feeling confident, you make sure you have, your salt circle and all this other shit that makes you feel secure, even though it's all mostly mental games. Do all that stuff, and if you get a spirit that you don't like, just get rid of it. But my opinion, though, again, and this is from a lot of experience on this, these walk-ins, these pretender spirits, these things that aren't the one you called for, they are probably spirits that you are inadvertently bringing in because you've got some shadow work to do. You've got to realize why did you bring that spirit here instead of the one you were calling? Because if you're doing it right, you're in control of the whole process. You're creating the avatar in your mind's eye. You're creating the imaginary avatar, and then you're filling it with energy, and then you're talking to that, and then that's becoming alive for you in ritual. So if you're doing it right, which isn't hard to do, by the way, if you have an so let me put it like this. This is going to ruffle some feathers. Did you ever call upon the wrong imaginary friend by accident? When you were a kid? Did you ever do that? No? People aren't going to like this, but that's what you're doing when you're, as an adult, calling on a spirit, except there's more to it now. There's something a little bit more mature about it. There's something more sophisticated about it. Because I'm telling you, again, people don't want to hear this. A lot of those little imaginary friends that kids have are an avatar for a spirit too. You'll be surprised. You ask kids, who's your little imaginary friend? They describe it. Yeah, that sounds a little bit like a person or something. That's really weird. So you're really saying it's like a dude riding a bear? Yeah, okay. You'll find weird stuff like that. So it's not really that different. It's not really that different. And I know it ruffles feathers, and forgive me if I disagree with anybody, but it's been my experience that confidence that comes later is what keeps you from not doing it wrong. You know that you're calling the right one because you've made it the right one.
Oh, did we just cut out or something?
I don't know.
We did, because the spirits were mad at me. They're like, shut up, Thorne.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, I was doing fine. I was watching it all on my end.
So We have another question here, a little bit heavier. I didn't want to transition right into it. Dan Best asks, what spirits or demons would be good to work with for getting over depression and suicide?
Oof, that's a toughie.
Yeah, it's a heavy one.
I work with Lucifer is amazing for like teaching you self-love and self-care. That's always been like, I mean, it's like when I need a big hug, I work with Lucifer, you know, and things like that.
Lucifer he never holds back the compliments, right? It's always, but you got to watch out. Sometimes it can feel like, really?
Yeah. I mean, occasionally, sometimes he's a little pointed on things. It's like, well, okay, you know, it's sort of like, there was a lesson in this. I led you down this path so you'd see what the fuck was actually going on, and you're being kind of a little bit of stupid about it, you know?
but it's always got so much love energy in it.
Belial, definitely. You know, that's, I mean, it all depends who you're comfortable working with. I mean, sometimes I work with, like, for trauma things, a lot of the dark goddesses, like with Lilith or Astarte especially. I think I've picked up things from each of them. Like, I mean, predominantly my workings with Beelzebub have dealt with the concept of emotional pestilence. It's how we poison ourselves with the toxicity of our emotions and feelings and things like that. So, I mean, you can really, on anything related to mental health, any of dark goddesses, demons, etc., are all going to point you in the direction of the shadow work and self work that you need to do. Now, that being said, there is also the component of, if you are in immediate danger, you need to work with mental health professionals on those things. You know, whether it's, you know, going to a crisis center, whether it's getting a therapist, going to a psychiatrist, things like that. And one of the things that I've been working on, because I'm about a month away from finishing up my Reiki Master certification training, and because I like to do all the things. And one of the things we're doing in that is building a self-care toolkit. It's the thing we can pick up when we're freaking the fuck out and look, okay, these are the things that are available to me immediately. Like, this is the person I can go to for an emergency tarot reading or Reiki session or energy work or things like that. And, you know, building, you know, okay, if this happens, here are the things I need to do. So looking at doing something like that is making sort of like your emergency document of, because a lot of times when you're triggered by something or really in a heightened state like that, because I mean, I've suffered from depression my entire life, you know, you aren't always thinking like, you might just drop, who can I call right now? Or I don't remember who my friends are, you know? So to be like, okay, here's my you know, phone chain of people who I can call at 3 a.m. that will like talk me down from a crisis.
Yeah.
So having something like that, I mean, you mix the magical and the mundane, but
you always have to. I mean, you always have to. They're opposite sides of the same coin. You can't have one work without the other attached. Like, this is why I tell people, magic is, you should never see it as a genie in a bottle wish granting machine. It's, especially if you're not willing to do the mundane work that goes with it. You know, people will come to me like, I need you to do a spell to get me, I don't know, insert thing here. And it's like, yeah, but you got to make it something that is both rational, and it also has to be something that's in the cards, if that makes sense. Like, it's got to be like, you know, you can't be like, oh, I want to wake up tomorrow and be a dog. You know, that's Hollywood. But if you tell me I'm having, well, I want to let Nina answer the question before I really get into my answer for it. But, you know, yeah, let's just let Nina go. Nina, you go ahead.
Sorry, what's the question again?
Bashi?
The question was about What spirits or demons would be good to work with for getting over depression and suicide?
Yeah, that is a tough one. I don't know. I haven't really worked with any particular demon for that. That, for me, that kind of just came along with it. It wasn't something I asked for. That kind of, the depression and low self-esteem, all of that kind of just went out the door for me anyways, working with all of them. But so I never had a particular spirit that I would go to for that. So I don't really know. I couldn't say one or the other, but Lucifer is probably a good one, like she mentioned. Mm-hmm. You know, he's kind of an all-around good, you know, a beginner spirit as well, kind of, you know. So.
And one thing I've noticed with Lucifer on that, like, there's times when it's, especially, you know, if we've been separated physically from people, you know, through the bullshit of the past year and a half, is Lucifer will be like, okay, I'm gonna.
And that's coming back, by the way, probably. I'm just saying it.
No, Oh yeah.
I'm like, because I work for university, I'm sitting here, I'm like scheduling all these events for the fall. I'm like, y'all realize none of this shit's gonna happen, right?
We've got tickets to see The Who, and I have a feeling that's gonna get refunded. Just saying.
Yeah, I got tickets for Rammstein next summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the time right now. Do as much.
Plus, you want to fly out here and come see Rammstein with me if that's a thing that happens in 2022?
Oh,
I'll go see that with you guys.
I would fucking love to do that. For the record, I normally listen to music in the background during these streams, and I shit you not, I had it on shuffle the fucking moment that you came on. Rammstein started playing. What
Rammstein.
Fucking synchronicity. Okay.
What song was it?
I think it was Du
It
Hast.
was Pussy, but you know, just saying.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Du Hast.
Oh, there you go. But you know, fuck, what was I talking about? Yeah, so Lucifer, like, if you need a hug from your best friend, and you aren't with your best friend, Lucifer will take on the guise of looking like that person that you need.
But there will be tough love behind it, hidden behind all the "you're beautiful, I'm wonderful and cherishable," but there will be tough love in there too.
Absolutely.
Trust me on
but
that.
Sometimes, you know, you just need Lucifer will come and like wrap his wings around you and be all schmoopy and, you know.
Yep. Like, don't they suck? Yes, they do. You're wonderful. But all right, so I'm going to be a little unorthodox again. One of my favorite people.
You to be unorthodox for the people that know you would to just be saying
like totally
exactly
like normal.
What we expect.
It's
yeah,
like me
that's
saying,
true.
I'm gonna stay quiet on this.
So my position's going to be unorthodox in that Dr. Kevorkian should be sainted and be made into a national hero with a monument. So my point to this is this, okay? Without getting myself in trouble with the two of you, I cannot advise you. I'm not a medical doctor, and I would never tell you to do Sudoku or not. I will say that one of the things that makes it difficult is the stigma around it in the first place. That is part of the ideation as well. So what I'm saying is that as someone, I don't really get Sudoku thoughts, but I will say that I will occasionally get the morbid thoughts, and the morbid thoughts feel really good at first. You know, you'll be thinking like, you know, I could do this. Ugh. You know, and you'll feel like the butterflies, and it's the shock. It's that shock, and it's like an adrenaline rush. The stigma of it makes it feel like just this extra thing. Like, I'll show the world, or I'm so sick of the world I don't want to be here. That's the other side of it. There are, trust me, the people who do it don't do it because they're trying to get back at everybody. They do it because they're just legitimately sick of it all. You know, they don't talk about it, they do it. That's something for a fact. I've never, you know, I'm not saying it's never the other way. I'm just saying that statistics show the ones who do it, they're not the ones who brag about it that much. They just go and do it quietly, or it's in the moment, the heat of the moment.
I do it loudly. I do everything loudly.
Yeah. So all I'm getting at is that, number one, from my psychiatric perspective, it's just like when someone comes at me and tells me that they are having drug addict problems. And I'll say the first thing you need to do is stop hating yourself for thinking that you're broken because you have them. You've got to stop thinking, I'm so screwed up because I'm having... Yeah, you have to first get out of that place of self-judgment over it. You have a right to Sudoku, in my humble opinion. I believe every living thing has total body autonomy so long as you don't hurt somebody else in the process. You have total... I'm not saying I would love it if it was someone I cared about and didn't want to see go, but you have the right to Sudoku. Especially if you're suffering. If you really are suffering, you have a right. And I have all my sympathy, all sympathy.
I'm 100% behind death with dignity, and that it should be a choice.
Yes. I think, yeah, exactly.
I worked in a hospital. I've seen people suffer and kept alive for no fucking reason, because their families were selfish. I had a patient once. This was 25 years ago, whatever. A young guy. He was maybe 26. Basically, a vegetable from a car accident years earlier. His family wanted every measure taken to keep him alive. I mean, the guy's just laying in a bed, basically in a coma and being kept alive by all the tubes and machines and whatnot because his family wouldn't let him go. There's no chance this person is ever going to recover. He was young enough that he could live a very long time like this, and I just felt so angry at the family for doing that to him.
Yeah. And not for nothing, if I was hit with, oh, Thorne, you've got pancreatic cancer, you got a year to live. I'm going to be like, instead of putting me up to all the tubes and shit, we'll do the high probability stuff. If you're like, oh, this has 80% chance of working, sure, we'll do that. But once you get down to this got 40, 30%, I'll be like, you know what? Save the fucking money. Yes, give me the money. I want to go travel the world and all the pleasures that I can have that I'm okay with. I want, which they won't do, but I'd say take that insurance money that you would use for my medical treatment. I'll even take a fraction of it. Give me 10% of it, because compared to how much it actually costs the medical industry, give me 10% of what you would have paid for all that end-of-life care. Just put that in my pocket and go on the adventure of a lifetime. That's how I want to go. Yeah. So clinging to life makes you more depressed too.
It's the quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
Does living 10 extra days in excruciating pain worth it?
So spirit-wise, to be brutally honest, you want a spirit that's going to be brutally honest. And depression is not about... I suffer from depression. I shouldn't even say suffer. I experience depression. I've had it this week pretty bad, actually. Depression is not just... It's not just I'm sad. Sad is a symptom of depression, but depression is way more than just sad. Depression is like lack of motivation, lethargy... nothing you normally like is fun. It's one of the reasons I'm vampiric, is because one of the ways I can cure myself of it that I know for a fact is to go out in public and find somebody to feed on. That does get me through it. I go and I make a spectacle and I feel like a god for a minute, and man, that'll boost me right back. This world we live in, though, is really tough for someone like me, because it's like we can't even be around people. Anyway, so what spirit really helps with this stuff? I will say that, as much as I've been talking down on the Goetia lately, Dantalion is an exquisitely good psychiatric spirit. It's
for some reason I always call it I pronounce it more like dandelion.
I mean, I'm not even sure who it's supposed to be based on, except it always reminds me of D'Artagnan or something. Like, it reminds me of a musketeer, I guess. But it's got some weird vibes. But one of the things it's known for is it's a lot about love in the familial sense, or the fidelity sense. Like, you want marriage and kids, Dantalion's probably the love spirit. Not Zapar. Zapar's gonna get you laid. Not that's what he does. He's more about the fucking. Dantalion's more about the deep romance. Beleth is about the passion romance, like the if you want to cheat on people, Beleth is who you want. If you're looking for good psychiatric help, though, Dantalion is very good at this. Look up what he's good with, and you'll see why. He's a very good spirit for that stuff. But my thing to say, though, is that I will, of course, like everyone's been saying, you must seek out legit qualified help. Don't suffer in silence.
Sorry, I'm deep in thought because I'm trying to remember if I took a bath today or not, and if I need to take
That's
one before
nasty.
I go to bed. So I'm having a moment of, did I do this already? I feel like I did, but I might be thinking of yesterday. I don't know.
Well, if you can't tell, it's probably not that bad. So,
yeah.
You know what, to jump in really quick on what you were saying, DH, if you don't want to take our word for it, I mean, a lot of people here look up to EA Coeting. EA will say the same thing. He talks to, I forget if it's therapist or psychiatrist or however the fuck you break those all down. He talks to somebody and still does all of this shit. Like, just use both.
And the thing is, compared to say like medical doctors, which I can't advise you to do or not do, I have a lot better luck with therapists in terms of getting actual help than I do with like a medical doctor. Like it's not the same story. Even if all you can do is just find someone on a crisis helpline. But here's the thing. You've got to find someone who's not just there to add another mark on their bedpost. I kept someone alive. You need someone who is really looking out for what your soul is saying to them. And that's hard to do, you know? And that's why I say, you know, you have a right to Sudoku. You have a complete and utter right, in my opinion.
We're going to be official Black Magic live stream. We're going to have a cat butthole soon.
Cat butthole.
Nope. T-10.
The stinky starfish.
So, but as someone who gets the depression stuff,
I love you.
I don't actually look for a spirit to cure me of that. And here's why. I think you need to lean into depression a little bit. If you're depressed, there's something you're not addressing. Yes, it is not just moods and it's not just reasons. But I can also say to you that when I am in that depressive state, I know that I'm meant to look for something. Even if that's something, it's not a solution though. I'm meant to, there's something that I'm not dealing with something, maybe.
I've apparently turned into a gigantic orange cat. Oh, we almost had a butthole.
Oh, I hate Mondays. Lasagna.
Oh, this cat loves pasta.
We can tell. No.
So I mean, you know, like Fleshy, you know, like we've talked about, like, oh, you're depressed, you want to talk about? I'm like, not really, because it's not really a thing I can talk about. It's not because my car had an act. Like that's different. Like you're having a bad day. That's a different depression than clinical depression, and I'm familiar with clinical depression. So
I love you.
I like the way Bushido VR says, Sudoku, might as well say you have a right to commit toaster bath. I like toaster bath. I like that. Brave little toaster goes to hell.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
Hi.
I like that. You're right to commit toaster bath. That's the new way to say it. I say Sudoku because of Fleshy said Sudoku.
Yeah, I'm still gonna stick with Sudoku just because I love it so much, but I also acknowledge how great toaster bath is.
Corey, what are you doing?
All right, so what time is it? Let's see how much time we're gonna. I think we're gonna be closing it in a minute.
Yeah, I gotta wrap up soon because I'm gonna take an extra bath just in case because I have to be somewhere at noon tomorrow and I'm not a morning person, so
yeah.
That you've been hanging out with us and everybody feels dirty after a little while. So
yeah, this was the clavage stream. We need to get a little bit clean after that.
Oh.
Hold on here. I'll give you some. There we go. Oh, finger clavage.
Yes, I'm just a giant cat now. Hi.
Oh my god. Go commit step on Lego. I like that.
All right. Corey. Yes.
We had another, as a quick one to see us out, T.A. Mitchell asked the question, have you ever ran into another person who had a message from or seemed to carry the same traits as the spirit you were calling?
Sure. I mean, I couldn't give a specific example, but sure.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's all egregores all the way down. It's fucking nothing but egregore. People are gonna have similar energies. I don't know if I could say one-to-one, but definitely, you know, had colors.
Oh, no. How about anybody else? Nina?
Right?
You ever meet anybody that had the same energies as the spirit you were working with?
Oh yeah, you tend to sort of draw them in, right? And
I mean, I would say that a lot of times people will say what a spirit wants me to hear. I think that's what we'd say,
Like
right?
a purse.
yeah, that could be too. In what context was this?
Somebody was just asking. That was pretty much the whole question.
I've inhaled way too much cat fur.
It's delicious.
Corey.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do the crap buying segment and the everybody go here segment. I want to start off with me because then I'm gonna shut up and let everybody sell their crap. Look in the description of this video for the Linktree link. It's the very first link. If you check that out, you can find all the different ways. If you want to support us financially, that's how you do it. There is a link to my books, which, you know what, Fleshy, we're going to have to do more Shadow People stuff very soon and like focus on it soon, because it's coming towards the end of summer and they're really, really noticeable to me. They come forward more in the end of summer.
Oh boy, Shadow People. I never get fucked up when we start talking about them. No, sir.
So we'll do a show about that soon. But for those of you who are interested, my books are the first links in the link tree. Then you've got my my PayPal probably somewhere after that, where you can sign up for my weekly class if you want to. That is highly
Patreon,
recommended.
Not PayPal.
Did I say PayPal? Yeah, fuck PayPal. Patreon, if you go there, you can do that. If you want, I do ritual services, but I'm very picky and particular about who and why. So if you have your questions, if you want to do that, check out my website link, go there, look for the services page, and start talking to me about that. I am more interested in what you might call self-help magic rather than let me be a genie in a bottle for you. I don't do the genie in the bottle magic very happily. I am much more inclined to try to help you figure your own shit out. That's what I'm interested in. So if you're interested in that, there is also our Etsy page, which if you're interested in the mirrors or any of the other stuff we have, and I will probably have to put my face to the grindstone soon and start making some other stuff personally, like, well, I won't even give it away, but just painted skulls, stuff like that. But we do have some mirrors that are up, and we have more in process that will be made soon. We didn't put many up with eyes. Those are always the best seller. We got some eyes in process right now. So if you're interested in that, you can get that. Is it possible to buy a signed mirror? I never thought of that, but I don't see why not.
Well, you guys put your signatures on the back, right?
Since Camilla is the one who makes the mirrors, she puts a mark on them that is her maker's mark, whatever, her sigil mark, just like I have. We do sign the little included paper that comes with it, but that's something else. Like, that's not going to be collectible. It's just so you know it's from us. But I don't see why not. If you want to buy one and you want to get it signed, you can either ask for a custom mirror, and in your comments we can talk about that, or just buy the mirror and leave us a message as well saying, hey, that mirror you're sending me, could you guys both sign it on the back? And I don't see why not. We'll definitely look into see if we can do that for you.
And as a quick extension to your plugs, if you guys can't get enough of the streams and want to hang out with us more tomorrow, you know, if you're not watching the Garretts, or after you get done watching the Garretts, then you can come over to my channel where we will be playing fucking party games and shit, and you can be a part of it. Link to that will be in the chat.
Expect way too many drawn penises during the drawing segments. There's going to be probably, yeah. I don't know who's playing, but we do have a full lineup of people from what it looks like. So
yeah, pretty full. We've had a couple people had to drop out, and a couple other people came in. So there's going to be some other occultists there as well.
Yeah, I look forward to that. It's going to be funny.
That's enough of our crap.
Everybody else, sell your crap. Shutting up.
These people's awesome crap.
Yeah,
I'm Jen. I make witchy shit. Buy my crap.
And I will have, I'm not prepared, but I will have a link to Jen's crap in chat. It's
belladonnasbotanicals.com. Yeah, I do witchy crap. I'm going to be launching some new services soon. I just have to, actually put them on my website. Because I've been doing a lot more. My triple action binding ritual for toxic narcissist abuser types has been wildly popular, as one can imagine. So I do a lot of jar spell work, so I'm going to add some more of that. And once I finish up my Reiki mastery training, I'm going to be adding some like Reiki, distance Reiki kind of sessions and stuff like that. So stay tuned.
And
speaking of the Garretts, they'll actually be on my channel here on Sunday for Sunday Live. We actually do talk about some of the drama and stuff like that that's been going on, and some other things too. There's some cool things in there. You guys gonna get a kick out of it. So subscribe my channel and go check that out. I also got 10% off my merch right now with coupon back to school in the checkout there.
And the links for both of those, the stream with the Garretts on Sunday and also Nina's store and 10% off is both in the chat right now.
Badass. I'm gonna yeah, cool. All right, good.
Thanks, guys.
So, oh, you're welcome, everybody. Nina,
I know it's been a while. And every time I'm on, my hair is probably an entirely different color scheme. So
it's a different color, different shape. The boobs are slightly left or right. It's all good, man. You're welcome with all the differences.
I'm really honestly just still wearing my pajamas that I didn't get out of when I woke up today. So, you know.
We love you guys. We love you, Jen. We love you guys. I mean, you're always welcome here. I may or may not have
showered. I definitely did not brush my teeth.
I will take your word for it.
Don't check.
So
I'm a classy broad, you see.
So for those of you, Nina will have a special show next week for Nina and me. It may get a little political fleshy, so I don't know. You may have to get some Rubik's cubes to look at for a little while.
Yeah, I will be wearing some earplugs through some of it. I'm sure.
But we'll mostly be talking about the freedom angle anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
So if it comes up, but we got to be careful because I don't like to censor myself, but YouTube's such a prick, and I know I could say more than I do, but I've already had videos taken down, just so you guys know. I did it. Here's the story. Those who don't know, I've got a BitChute channel, and I did a channeling of Marbas right around the start of the coof, before it got big, before we knew it was really going to hit. I did a channeling of Marbas for it, and they took it down. That should tell you something. I had to take it down. It's very publicly shown. I've got stuff. They took it down. So it's on BitChute, and you can tell me how accurate I was. It was yes, it was definitely, what's the word? Cryptic, but it was pretty cryptically accurate. So they didn't like it. Probably because I offered advice on holistic ways you could help yourself with it.
Yeah, they don't
probably didn't like that.
Yeah, they don't.
But I didn't. But I have no control over what I say necessarily in that situation. So I couldn't be like, I don't mean this, So I don't know. Maybe that's why, but that's not what they said. The reason they took it down wasn't for the. If you look at the reasons YouTube can take a video down, they'll tell you what rule you broke, and one of them is something like medical advice or whatever. It wasn't that. It was something to do with self-harm. I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with it? It was something, so somebody reported me, or they saw it, and when I tried to appeal it, I got like the automated version of fuck you. There was no way to I asked them, what part are you even talking about? I'll happily edit the video. You can't, they won't do that. They did not like it. I've thought about trying to re-release it with figure out what they didn't like and just cut that part out, but I decided, fuck it, I'm just going to use the competitor. I'll go to BitChute, and it's got like 800 views. So check it out. Go to my BitChute. That's in the link in the description as well. You can watch that channeling of Marbas. It was pretty fucking. It was one of my most epic channelings. I mean, there was a powerful moment where you saw me get hit with like a magical. You saw it. Like I was like, what's gonna happen? And then the flame goes boom, and I almost fall over. You can't make that shit up. Okay, so check it out. It was a powerful fucking video.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, I'm selling my crap more, but Nina's going to be on again, and we're going to focus more on Nina's stuff that she deals with, and her views on world events as well, and her methods of magic. We're just going to be talking to her next week, so hopefully we'll see you guys there for that. But if you like the drama in the world and you want to hear a little bit more about it, it'll probably come up because it's a big thing that Nina deals with, and I do too, but I keep it more to the Discord, so I've learned my lesson.
This is a rare time for us because I'm pretty public about the fact that we fucking fly by the seat of our pants most of the time. this stream and the next 2 streams we have scheduled ahead of time and know what we're doing. This is I honestly think Lucifer's throne might be frozen over.
Yeah. Well, according to the Dante's Inferno, hell is frozen over. So.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I actually look forward, even though maybe not like every minute of it, I look forward to Thursdays. I really do. I mean, yes, it's like a job, but I love doing this. It's a lot of fun. We have fun. It's a good hoot and a holler. We get to talk about stuff. We get to have fun. We get to talk to you guys. So thank you so much for making this possible. We had a lot of viewers tonight. I think we almost hit 80 for a minute there, which is not a record. I think our record was like 120 something, but we had a pretty good showing tonight, and I hope you guys learned and got something good out of it. I'm glad to see that the likes match the number of concurrent viewers for a change. I'm really happy, guys. Thank you so much for coming. To anybody new, my regular videos are a little bit more mellow in case we were too crazy for you this time, but if we're not crazy enough, we get crazier than this.
So, you know.
Yeah,
we don't always have boobs. Sometimes we have more boobs, sometimes less.
I tried to rock it when Jen's not here, but I mean, you can only do so much with a solid.
Yeah, Barbie and I need to do a stream just called boobs, 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 and boobs.
You just have boobs repeated. Yeah. So, all right, guys, that's it. Let's say goodbye. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thanks for having me on. I'll see you guys next week.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here, and mind the motherfucking shadows, everybody.
Because that's exactly what you are.
Tell your friends.